Hi everyone, this is Carly. Before we start this episode on Red River and Citrus Breeze, we'd like to mention that after this episode was recorded, an actress we discussed made some discriminatory comments on her social media. We want all of our listeners to know that this podcast does not endorse the opinions of the actresses and that you are welcome and loved regardless of your nationality, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, or anything else. We hope this podcast can be a safe and welcoming space for all listeners to enhance their enjoyment of Takarazuka.
Welcome to this episode of the Takarazuka Review Fan Podcast, a podcast created by fans for fans. Today we are going to chat about the 2018 Cosmos Troupe, Soragumi, production of The Sky is on the Banks of the Red River and Citrus Breeze Sunrise. I am Lella in Tokyo, and with me today are...
Heidi, I'm in Philadelphia, recently relocated from Boston.
And Julie in Arizona.
And Jenn, also in Arizona.
This is Jenn's first time on the podcast, although it's actually not, because, full disclosure, we recorded this episode before, but the audio got corrupted and we couldn't use it, so we are now recording it again. In any case, this is the first time you, dear listener, hear Jenn on the podcast, so I was hoping that you, Jenn, could give us a self-introduction.
Sure. I have been a Takarazuka fan for a little over a year. My favorite Seito is Aizuki Hikaru, and I've seen, with Julie's help, we watched a ton of Soragumi shows and several other troupe shows, and I just really love it and have gotten, learned a handful of Japanese words and phrases, and am just having a really good time being a fan.
Yay! Thank you so much. We're happy to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, so without further ado, we're going to go into our happy things. So,
Yay.
Heidi, what's your happy thing?
My happy thing, I guess happy things are twofold. So, a couple of recent announcements. Yesterday, I guess technically, Soragumi's first Grand Theater show for 2019 was announced. It's going to be Ocean's 11.
Yeah!
Super excited because apparently Kaze Suzuho and Sirika Toa have decided to relive their Shinko days because they did the show as they did the Danny and Rusty as the Shinko roles for Hoshigumi's 2011 show. Fun other fact, Kiki will have been in all 3 productions and has played 4 different roles between Honkoen and Shinko.
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
So, because she transferred to Hanagumi just before they did their version of Ocean's 11 with Ranju Tomu. So, she's been around.
So, Ocean's 11 for Kiki is like Elizabeth for Meteor. Because
Meteor's been in a lot.
So Kiki has been all over Ocean's 11. Oh, that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see the remastered version of it, I guess.
The remastered.
I'm really interested to see who also nabs kind of the other roles as well.
It's the,
so that's
Heidi,
exciting.
it's the Revenge.
Yes. Good. Yeah, so that's exciting. And then I think either earlier this week or last week was announced the second Soragumi Small Theater show for early next year is going to Sirika Toa Kiki again. Hooray! And she's going to be doing... I'm going to mangle this pronunciation, so I'm really sorry. Die Rauber? The Robbers. And it's a German play that they're basing it off of. It sounds very drama-y. So
Sounds very dark and intense.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what she does with that. So yeah, those are my happy things.
All right, next up is me, and So I told the others that I wouldn't tell them this happy thing until we were recording because I wanted to get their actual, one particular person's actual reaction to this thing. But it was that I was watching Messiah recently because it's currently on in Tokyo. And when I was looking at, up at the lovely Jenns, there was one person who, when she was smiling, reminded me so much of Heidi that it was uncanny. It was like exactly the same smile as Heidi's smile, and I had to, and it's silly that I don't know who this Jenn is because Hanagumi is kind of my troupe.
Oh my god.
But anyway, I've looked it up, and I think it is Nina Kaho, and she doesn't look like Heidi when she's not smiling, but when she's smiling, it's like, wow, that is so Heidi.
That's so cute.
Oh my god, Lella.
Yeah, and she
That
is.
makes me happy.
She's one of the Taidansha, Nina Kaho.
Oh,
so
that's right.
I'm hoping we'll get lots of shots of her, and she is next to Chinatsu in the kind of in-between song, but it's really nice. It's like an in-between number between the Chuzume and the next number. So Chinatsu stays in the Chuzume outfit on stage, just looking fabulous, and then she has a couple of musumiyaku who
Nice.
do a fun number with her. And Nina Kaho is... I think it is Nina Kaho, but anyway, the musume who looks like Heidi when she smiles is next to Chinatsu on the Ginkyo. So
That's so awesome.
on the Silver Bridge. Yes. So keep an eye out for that because she's definitely going to be on the DVD. So
I guess I'll just have to buy the DVD then.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn. Aw, thank you, Lella.
Yeah. But I have another happy thing, which was that when I went to see Messiah and Beautiful Garden again, so I had a pretty good seat that I got through some kind of magic, and it was an eseseki, but it was like the back row, but I was right in the middle, so it was like the perfect seat to watch the show from. And in the Chuzume, I think it is, Mirio is on the Ginkyo, and she totally pointed at me twice. It was not
She
a case of,
definitely
oh,
did.
this is
Yeah.
the general direction in which she points when she does this number. Oh, no.
It was you
for
specifically.
me. Yes, absolutely. I'm so not believing that to be true, but, whatever
I know that
makes us
feeling.
happy, right?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to talk about Beautiful Garden and Messiah in another podcast.
Separate
but,
podcast?
Yeah,
Nice.
I have a lot of opinions.
Here.
But now, Jen's happy thing.
My happy thing is actually getting to be on the podcast because, as I said, I've been a fan for a little over a year, and I went back and listened to a lot of the podcasts in the last year, and I love them, and I love listening to them, and I love listening to the people that I have gotten to be friends with and that I know just from being in this fandom. And I always kind of secretly wanted to be on the podcast and was kind of hoping. I know Jenn in New York. I've met her in person, actually. She's the only one. And I told her once, I was like, if you ever need anyone else on a podcast, I'm just putting it out there. So, and then I got invited to be on the Red River podcast, and I was really, really excited. So I'm really happy to be doing this.
Yay!
Yay! And last but not least, we have Julie and her happy thing.
My happy thing is that I got wind that there are some Japanese fans listening to this podcast. So both me and Jen's happy things are about the podcast. I think that's really awesome and makes me like sort of nervous and happy at the same time. So I'll try to be clear. I should note, I was thinking about this because we were rewatching Red River yesterday and Citrus Breeze today. on this podcast, I might say things like, I hate her, she's so rude, she's so stupid. And I want the Japanese fans to know that when I say those things, I mean the exact opposite. It means I love them. And I'm very upset about how they make me feel, but in a good way.
Yeah. That's a very important distinction to understand.
Yeah, because like it's all to do with the tone of voice, isn't it? Like you say it in a way, and you know, especially when you're face to face with someone, you'll know that they are.
You can tell.
You'll know what they mean because they get like this look in their eye. It's kind of sparkly, you know, a little bit like, oh my god, I hate her, you know.
And they're usually smiling about it.
Smiling,
too.
yeah. But so everyone listening to this podcast, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and we hope that you enjoy it and that we speak using words that are comprehensible. I know that's not always the case. If you need clarification, just ask in comments somewhere. Like we will happily give you an answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you can tweet.
Right.
Use Twitter.
Yeah.
Tweet your reply.
Yeah. What is it Zuka podcast or
Zuka podcast?
Zuka podcast.
Okay.
So we also had a not happy thing.
Yes, and that is, well, I am still reeling from these news. I woke up to the announcement that Miyaruri is going to be out of the rest of the run for Elizabeth in Mura. So the Takarazuka run of Elizabeth is now not going to have Miyaruri in it, and I'm a little bit wondering what has happened. It doesn't really say in the announcement. It says something about
poor health.
So, do we have any ideas what it could be?
Oh, I wouldn't
we shouldn't
speculate.
theorize, maybe.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they always say something really vague like that.
Yeah. But we hope that Miyaruri is okay. We hope that she comes back for the Tokyo run, and that she is going to be spick and span and feeling fantastic, right?
Get well
Yes.
soon.
Yeah.
We're praying for you,
love a
Miyaruri.
lot, and we want you to be okay.
Yeah.
Please be okay.
And good luck to everyone who has
Reiko
to
and everyone filling
Yeah.
shuffle around
in.
there.
Yeah, jeez.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so they had... Okay, so Reiko is now... Tsukihiro Kanato is going to be Franz Joseph.
Yes.
They had a double cast for Rudolph. It was...
And now it's just Ari's playing Rudolph and Kazama Yuno is playing Lukin.
Wow.
So what do we think? How is the
I have no
rest
idea.
of-
I don't know anything about Kazama Yuno. Like, the first time I really became aware of her was literally the Elizabeth announcement. I think she had a Shinko lead before that, but, like, I didn't know anything about her. I still don't really know anything about her.
Yeah.
I feel
She
like
has a lovely face, though, you know.
Yeah.
She's got
Yeah.
a sense of gravitas about her. But, yeah, like, hoping they all do great and that they have
Yeah,
good fun
good luck.
doing these roles. Yeah.
To everybody.
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch the Raku live on my birthday. So that's gonna be interesting. And so I'm gonna see that version. I'm presuming that the DVD has already been recorded.
Yeah, I would assume so.
yeah.
I mean, if we, as I dearly and sincerely hope that we get Miyaruri back for the Tokyo run, it's you know, it's going to be really cool to have seen both of these casts. But yeah. Anywho's, shall we move on to Red River?
Yes.
Okay, so in Japanese, this show is called Akai Kawa. No, Sora wa Akai Kawa no Hotori, right?
Yes.
I think. Yes. It is the first grand theatre show, which is starred by Makaze Suzuho and Hoshikaze Madoka. So the Kazukazu combi has made their grand theatre debut.
Yay!
which is a fantastic and fun thing. So Red River is based on a shoujo manga, or is an adaptation of a shoujo manga, and I didn't really manage to get through all of the manga, even though I tried. But Julie, I believe that you have read this manga. Could you tell us a brief overview?
Yes, I have read the entire manga, I should say, translated into English. I didn't read it in Japanese. But
Okay.
It's about a young woman who falls through a mysterious water portal and she's like a modern-day Japanese girl, high school student, and she travels back in time, like 3,000 something years into the past, to the Hittite Empire, and has to like learn how to live, and is immediately swept up in the political drama of the king and his 7 sons, and like who wants to be the next king, and all the wives who want their sons to be king. And on top of that, the Hittite Empire is fighting with a bunch of other empires, and so a lot of the main players have to do with trying to gain power over each other. And it's very shoujo manga-esque, you know. She's always getting swept off of her feet, and everyone is always falling in love with her, either by their own heart, or because the Queen Nakia puts a spell on them and makes them fall in love with her.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just the kind of will they, won't they of Kyle and Yuri falling in love, and will they be allowed to be married, or will they forever be apart? Will she go back to modern-day Japan, or will she stay in the Hittite Empire? That's the whole manga. It's like 28 volumes.
It's very long, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hi. I really like the main character, Yuri. And
Yeah.
it felt as though she, like, even though there is always the sense that even if you have a female character that's supposed to be the main character, it is the otokuyaku part that becomes the main character. But I felt that Yuri was given a lot of room, and she really felt like she did develop. It happened quite quickly and suddenly, but she's still a strong female character, and I really enjoyed that aspect of her as a character.
Yeah, I felt like I said, a big part of the manga was this idea that she's stuck in the past and she wants to get home, and they're trying to figure out how to get her home. And they didn't really focus on that because it would have just distracted from the rest of the plot. But like 3/4 of the way through the story, they bring up this whole plot line about like, oh no, now you could never go home again. When I feel like, in the play, in the Takarazuka version, they never mentioned in the first place that she wanted to go home. So it seemed sort of late in the game for them to be being like, oh, but she really wanted to go home. Like, did she though?
No.
It's fine though. Like I just kind of, I find it funny, but it didn't bother me.
Yeah. They rewrote the story to kind of fit into a different structure. Because in the manga, it's so focused around the fact that she wants to go home, and that drives the whole plot. Whereas here, that's not really the focus. So
it's more like a slow progression of, at first she really wants to go home, but she's getting wrapped up in Kyle and all his like stuff. And then slowly she comes around to the idea that maybe she wants to stay. When in the play, you don't really have time to show that train of thought.
Yeah. I think that's what stopped me really from reading the whole manga. It was that I felt as though it kind of stagnated. It was going nowhere. And I'm a 21st century person. I don't have that kind of...
I don't have time for this.
Ain't nobody got time for that, right? So
I was trying to read the manga before the show started. A lot in part, I was basically trying to get to Ramses so that I could kind of see what he was about, and I must have read at least half, I feel, and I still never got to him. And then life happened, and I just never went back and picked it up.
Yeah.
So I felt like, though, but from what I did read and from watching the show, I was happy that I had read as much as I did, because I still had some context for a lot of these characters, which a lot of them kind of come in and then blow by really quickly.
Yeah.
And without having kind of the idea of already what some of the motivations of the characters are from reading the manga, I would have been really lost, I think, coming into this fresh.
I agree.
So I think they tried to put 28 volumes into an hour and a half with some mild degree of success. Like, it was mostly followable, but it was still, like, there was still a lot, like, there were several characters that I either hadn't met yet or didn't really have context for, and I was like, okay, I'm not really sure why you're here or what you're doing or why you're doing it, but alright, we'll just keep trucking along. Like, I think they had, like, a pretty basic, like, plot structure that they kept to, but there are a few things still where it was a little bit like, okay, this could have been a little cleaner, but they also, like, made use of the giant cast at the same time.
Yeah.
So there were so many people on stage.
I have some specific thoughts about that when we get to talking about Ai-chan.
Like,
and also with Kiki, like, she, you know, because, like you said, she's Ramsey's character is not introduced until way later. She plops in like the first 20 minutes or something, and then totally disappears.
But then when she does appear, she's charming and delightful.
Because she's the Nibante, and they need to give her stage time.
No, not necessarily. Have you seen Yamatoku?
I have not actually seen it.
She has 25 minutes of stage time. Am I salty about this? No.
Not at all. Oh no.
But
one thing that I wanted to interject here when you were talking about the story or, you know, the adaptation, is that a lot of Japanese people grew up with this story. So I actually had a co-worker who came with me to see this show, and it was because she wanted to see this show in particular. Because she said, oh my god, I read this manga when I was a child, and I really want to see what they've done with it. So it has that sense of nostalgia embedded in it, and a lot of the people who went, even people who aren't really normally Takarazuka goers, would go to see this show because of, you know, nostalgia.
It was very popular manga back in the 90s.
So they would want to see these characters, you know, on stage, and so I think that is also partly why they included so many characters, because this was such a popular manga, and a lot of people wanted to see their favorite character and things like that. So, but another thing about it is that I love the fact that this feels like it's a whole troupe show. Like, everyone gets a bit of spotlight. Like, nobody... Well, I mean, obviously the babies wouldn't be able to get big roles or anything, but it feels like it's kind of cohesive, and it feels like a whole troupe show, and that everyone's included. But...
it's a big cast.
Yeah. But also...
Should we go down the list?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty successful considering how many characters there were.
Yeah. Oh, I have one other thing I really wanted to make sure I talked about, and I could probably ramble about this for minutes at a time, but I won't. I just wanted to kind of give a huge shout out to the costume designers and the people who make the costumes.
God!
Because I'm pretty sure they designed these costumes not for stage, but for the DVD recording, because I feel like you would not even see half of the stuff that they put in, you know, unless you're sitting in the front row. But on the DVD recording, you can see all of the, like, the really lush, like, textures and beadwork, and I don't know how Aki walked in that dress, but, like, there's just... And everyone, it wasn't just, like, the top, like, main cast. It was, like, every person's costume.
Heidi,
like,
I thought about that
beautiful.
so much the second time I watched the DVD, which was just yesterday, that, like the 6 or 8 ladies who are, like, the consorts who all want Kyle's hand, and they're, like, singing in the beginning, all of those costumes match, and they're new. There's no way that those are from something else. They're new costumes.
And the wigs for them as well, like, those wigs were incredible. Like, everything was just so detailed and so beautiful, and I want to know where the company stashes its extra fabric so I can go
For
steal.
real. Oh, yeah.
There were so many different textiles that I wanted to just oh, God, I just
raid their closet,
I
basically.
love them. I want to see them. I wish I could see them up close.
Oh, yeah.
So badly. So they just look so beautiful and so detailed and incredible. So apparently they were a pain to wear, but they looked amazing.
So really what we want is for all of the costumes that were in this show to be displayed somewhere.
Right.
All of them. Yes.
All
every
of
single
them.
Yeah,
Not
all
just
of
like,
them. So not
And
just
go
like
on an
a couple in the-
international tour.
yes.
Yeah.
Not just like the top 3 or 4 people, all of the costumes.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a big warehouse where you go like, oh my god.
Yes.
All right. Shall we move on to talking about Makaze?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Who would like to start?
Should we just go top down?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Let's talk about Makaze Suzuho.
Let's talk
Right.
about Yurika.
The perfect prince. The perfect boyfriend.
Oh my god.
I cannot even.
I wrote in my notes, get out of here, Yurika. Which is not to say actually get out to here, which is to say I'm mad at you, which is to say
I'm
I
mad
love
at
you
you.
because you are perfect. So and wonderful. But,
She's perfect. I don't when she was an underclassman, she was like gangly and like I didn't really get the hype about her. And then like I was kind of gone from Takarazuka fandom for a while, and I came back and she was perfect. And I don't know what happened.
There's a lot of polishing and refinement going on.
Yes.
I have to be honest, like I didn't really like pay super close attention to her until I saw Kamigami last year, Sakamoto's Taidan, and then she spent the entirety of that play in a 3-piece suit with dark hair. And I was like, goodbye.
Goodbye.
So there went that.
Goodbye, my heart.
But I really was impressed with her singing, especially
Yeah.
in this show and in Citrus Breeze. The opening song is just so good.
I love
it's
it.
so good, and I love her. Like obviously she starts it off, but then it kind of segues into Kiki and then into Aichan, and like their voices just have this like really great like similar quality, but they're all very distinct and different. But they just fit together so well, and I was like, it's like velvet on your skin.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opening number is really spot on. And there are
I
so
thought
many
all of the
people on
music was
stage.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the music. Yeah.
Like sometimes in Takarazuka shows, you feel like a song can be really jarring, or like the tone doesn't match the tone of the scene. But I felt like basically everything was it blended well, and it didn't really seem like, oh, this number was randomly dropped in here for no reason. It flowed really well.
Yeah, it did.
I feel like the most different song is probably Kiki's.
Yes, I think that too, but I love
that
it.
is so perfect in its own way that it doesn't really like.
Yeah.
It stands out because it's so good, but nothing other than that. Like it fits into the whole.
But yeah,
the
about Makaze, about Yurika, that blue outfit at the beginning, and the like red towards the end when she has that like red cape, sash thing happening. That fabric, it's so beautiful.
I want it.
Yeah.
I want it so bad.
Yeah.
I feel like the stage photos of Makaze sold out really quickly. Like I don't know if that is true,
That's a
but
mood.
that is the feeling that I got from like visiting QR.
Yeah.
She just has this magnetism
Yes.
when she's speaking to Madoka in this show, and when she's making her speeches or monologues. She just has this charisma and this magnetism where you just look at her, or at least for me, it's like I look at her and I'm like, damn, just like how are you so beautiful and yet so like masculine and feminine at the same time, and just so attractive, and it's just very it's just it all works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a kabedon like when they meet, and Kail presses Yuri up against a wall and then pretends that they've had relations in order for Yuri not to be taken by Nakia, who has pulled her through from modern times, right? because to be sacrificed because she's the perfect sacrifice. Apparently, that's a thing.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
For some unexplained reason.
So he like rescues her in that moment, and you know he cabedons her and everything, and it's just like, who would disapprove of that happening?
Right. It's like there's a lot of moments that are very much those shoujo manga moments, because then right after that he literally sweeps her off her feet and does the like princess lift, you know, and carries her on stage and everything. It's great.
Yeah, so, but while there is this sense of Kyle being very masculine and doing all these things that might seem like a little bit, like, aggressive in a sense, like, but in a romantic way.
Yeah.
But there's still this enormous sense of respect for Yuri and for her boundaries, because he doesn't touch her at all until she says that she wants him to.
Yeah.
So
I like that they toned that down, because the manga when I was reading it was really difficult for me to get through in certain parts because of that. Because it was written in a way and in an age, and I guess there's still some of this lingering around. I don't know. I haven't read a whole lot of modern shoujo manga.
Days. Yeah,
but like where the idea of like kind of like, you know, forced kissing was romantic, and as opposed to just flat out assault.
Right.
So reading the
it
manga
was difficult
is
to read the manga.
But I was happy that they like really kind of took most of that out, and when there were those instances, it was like there was a little bit of context to them, like, oh man, she's not breathing, oh I guess I'll give her mouth to mouth, like, you know.
I have to. Oh darn. Yeah, no, because in the manga she's like he Kyle is like a super womanizer, you know, and he doesn't want to commit to anyone. He's like, marriage is a BS or something, and like has tons of ladies. And then as soon as he meets Yuri, then he like stops seeing all his other women or whatever. In this version, in the Takarazuka version, he gives her this whole speech about how like my mom was the perfect mom or something, and therefore I only want one woman, you know, which is totally what a woman wants to hear, is that I want you to be like my mom. That's not what he says, but you know, it just like, I feel like that conversation is like romantic but kind of like funny at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they pretty much specifically make it in this version that like this is an era when people had harems and they had tons of, all these princes have tons of women, but they make it specifically clear that Kyle only wants one woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that woman is Yuri.
And that woman is destined to be Yuri.
And speaking of Madoka,
yes,
I thought this role was perfect for her. From what I had seen of her before, which was not a lot. I hadn't seen any of her Shinko leads or anything, but I felt like she just nailed this character.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made her feel very natural.
Absolutely.
And
natural is a good way to put it.
Yeah. It just, I loved every minute of her on stage. I think she's a really wonderful actress, and a great singer. And I think it's a really, I loved that she could like kind of go toe-to-toe, literally, in certain scenes, with some of the old koyaku. Whether it's, like, stealing, you know, Ai-chan's sword, or like, you know, like, basically taking control, and in the scene with Ramses with Kiki, where she's always, like, throwing her off, or throwing Ramses off. And you can tell that she's, like, really in control of just about, like, every scene, both from a character perspective and also just from an actor's perspective as well.
I feel like Yuri, the character, like, develops really well. I mean, it's interesting because she is a modern girl and she has like this feisty part to her, right? So she actually learns how to fight with a sword, and but then she has this playful aspect as well. And I feel like when you really see that when she's with Ramses, so she gets like, because she goes along with the song and like she's having a good time with him, but she's like, she's friends with him,
Yeah,
Right?
she's
Like,
willing.
and-
She's willing to just play along, but she knows that she's not really into him.
Yeah, and I just enjoyed that aspect of it as well, that Yuri wants to be friends with a whole bunch of people. Like, she doesn't care that Ramses is romantically interested in her. She's kind of like, I'll be friends with you and have a good time, and, you know, it's playful and nice and fun, but, like, she still has that boundary of, like, but you know, she
but
knows...
I'm not gonna marry you.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna marry you.
Yeah. Like, I love the fact that she is so her own person and doesn't just go along with things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish there had been time. I know there wasn't time, but I wish there had been time to develop a tiny bit more of her becoming Ishtar.
Yeah.
Becoming the, like, goddess of war who, like, leads them into victory and stuff, because it's very brief and she just gets thrown into it, and that development in the manga is really cool, where she pretty much, like, becomes good at strategy and stuff in battle, and that would have been cool to see, but of course, like I said, I understand that there wasn't time.
Yeah.
That's very true. I also
28
wanted to
chapters,
say
hour and a
that...
half.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to mention as well that I think the dynamic between Yuri and Kyle is really good for Makaze and Madoka.
Yes.
Because, you know, Kyle is the older, more experienced person in the relationship, and Yuri is this youthful but feisty modern girl, and I feel like this is such a fantastic, you know, combi for the Kazukaze combi to start off with, right? Like, it really suits them and their kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Madoka was not too cutesy. Like you said, she had her boundaries, she had her feistiness, but it was very much not in a little girl kind of way, just in a I'm my own person kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
feel
I
like
like
it almost kind of puts them a little more on equal footing in that sense, because she is demonstrating that she's got that type of maturity, despite being probably 10 years younger. You know,
I'm really looking forward to the rest of Madoka's career in Soragumi, because I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what it turns into.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Shall we move on to Ramses and Kiki?
Yes.
I mean,
Right,
if you
I'm
want.
We have to.
We have to.
Right, I'm just gonna leave this one to Heidi right now. So go crazy. Okay.
Oh man. So
Yep.
yeah, wow. I want to I don't even know where to start. Jeez. Oh wait, that's why I took notes.
Let me check my notes.
My first thing I wrote down was like, we might have to bleep this out, but it's a phrase, and I'm sorry. Her shit-eating grin.
Yep.
Yes.
So
That's accurate. That's accurate.
so like the first thing, like suddenly she's there, and then she's just got this like super mischievous smile on her face, and I feel like in an instant you know what Ramses is about. And I feel like she's really good at conveying, and I'm going to talk about this later when we hit Citrus Breeze as well, but she's really good at conveying like a character just through expression. And I loved Ramses for her because she can be so playful. And she gets the chance to be a jerk, like kind of a chudai, like asshole, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm using all kinds of swear words.
Oh, so many swears. Oh, my ears.
That's just what he is.
Yeah.
And I just loved how like seamlessly she's come into the troupe. Not that I was like super involved in Soragumi before, but I just love how she played well off of everybody. Obviously, like Yurika, she's worked with before. I loved her and Madoka together in that scene. Was just so cute. And my one big regret, though, is that she and Ai-chan have all of, like, 3 minutes of stage time together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm real sad about that.
If you don't mind me chiming in about that.
Oh, absolutely.
I have been a Soragumi fan for my entire fan recce, my entire fan career. And that's 12-something years. And I was confused, like, yet again, why are they transferring somebody into my troupe to be Nibante? Why can't they just make someone in Soragumi be the Nibante? Like, I didn't get it. And I didn't know much about Kiki. So I wasn't poised to super be a fan of her necessarily. This show absolutely destroyed any barriers I might have had, any doubts or whatever. That ding song about, hey, be my wife and stuff. And her, like you said, her shit-eating grin and the sparkle in her eyes and that playful, fun, like I'm kind of being a jerk, but I'm kind of fun at the same time attitude. Yeah. And it just melted my heart completely. And I was sold. And it doesn't, like, I'm in for Team Kiki.
Yes.
Heidi, you can probably attest to this as well, but, like, again, Jen and I just rewatched the DVD yesterday, and it's like she literally has a sparkle in her eyes. Like, yes. I don't know what. I don't know what it is.
I don't know how she does it.
I don't know how she does
it.
She is everything that is charm and mischief in this show.
It's very distracting because they're like, wait,
maybe
I'm
it's
trying
the
to watch
different colored contact. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch somebody else on stage, and my eye keeps getting drawn back to this super tall, super attractive person,
super
blonde, yes.
Very good shade of blonde.
That blonde,
I love the blonde.
that is a good blonde.
I mean, probably Japanese fans understand this as well, but sometimes there's a little bit of like an orangey blonde color that happens when Japanese people dye their hair, and Kiki's dye job was a very excellent shade of blonde.
It's really funny because I'm always like, I like her blonde best, but then she'll like, she's got it dark now, and I'm like, no, this is really good too.
No, this is good too. Yep, I'm into this too.
Yeah.
While we're still on Kiki, there's a scene towards the end of the show where she and Kyle have like a sword battle. And Heidi, how do you feel about the sword battle?
I feel really great about that. I feel extremely good about that, mostly because when her like posse kind of like rises up from the platform.
Oh yeah.
And then there's just this shot of her, and her face is pure murder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there's Kukuchiko again. So she's, and it just I was like, wow, scary face. She's just so good at changing the mood of any, like, her character. Like like I said before, you just get it. You get exactly like what she's trying to convey, and she can just do it with just one look and just the kind of intensity in her eyes. And it was something that I really noticed really shockingly, I suppose, in Yamatai Koku, when she was an actual villain. And it's just been so cool to see her kind of carry that through to be able to switch. And it was really fun, her coming down the stairs, and she was like, she kind of switched from like, I'm gonna murder you to I'm gonna murder you, like, it was just like the really intense, and then the kind of like the smile, like, I'm coming for you. My other favorite moment though with her and Yurika was when Yurika comes, like, after Ramses saves Yuri from Matiwaza, from Ai-chan, and then Kyle comes in and is like, excuse you, what are you doing with my girl? And just this like this stare down that they have, and Yurika's expression is just like, I've got my eye on you. Just, like,
Don't try any
gives her the
funny
stink
business.
eye.
Yeah.
And Kiki's like, what? It was so good.
Yeah. Another thing about Kiki. So I had a conversation with a Japanese Zuka fan, and they were basically just pointing at Kiki's photo in the program, going like, "Look at her eyes."
Okay, so we're not alone. Everyone's obsessed with her eyes.
Yeah. And
Well,
I just thought that was just such a great way to just just the whole charm. Like that's basically it. Sorry.
No.
Swept away by Kiki.
Yes.
Honestly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, she's
All
just
right.
like really dialed up the charm in this one, and I love it, and I love it. So.
All right, I think it might be time for Aizuki Hikaru. I don't know.
Yay.
Yeah, what do you think?
Another person I dearly love.
Yes. She's the best. I loved her in this role. My only complaint, obviously, was not enough stage time. But that can be said about almost everybody in this show. But I loved it. I loved that she had a wig that went down to her calves.
Oh yeah.
And I just noticed I think yesterday was the third time I watched this show, that her pants were, again, about the fabric in this costumes, but her pants were like a red and black shimmery material.
Yeah.
And it was so striking when she comes down the stairs the first time to see this like red shimmering, fabric on her pants. And I was just like, wow, she just looks so striking as this character. And, she comes down and she has this, this battle scene with Madoka, and it's just like, all the little like minion soldiers try to fight her, and she basically picks them off really easily one by one. And then Madoka shows up, and or I should say Yuri shows up, and all of a sudden she's like got a worthy adversary, and it's just the way they portray it is just really good. Yuri is able to grab her sword and take her by surprise, and all of the facial expressions that she does in that scene just blew me away. I loved it.
And I mean, like we keep going back to about just the costumes and the, everything, everyone really put their whole heart in it. And I can imagine that, I don't want to say nobody put their whole heart into it more than Ai-chan, but as we know from interviews, Ai-chan really loves this manga and really wanted Takarazuka to do this show, and had some thoughts, and so I know that she in particular went all out with like the scar and like all of the jewelry pieces and the big long wig, because like in the manga, Kyle has really long hair as well, but Makaze's hair was much shorter because it just wouldn't have been practical. But it was really impressive to see Ai-chan with that really long hair.
Yeah.
I actually didn't notice how long her wig was until I think the second time I watched it. And then I was like, what? And I did the same thing for Maggie, too. Like, her wig's insanely long. I was like, what?
I think it was on Cafe Break that Ai-chan talked about, like, her and Maggie, like, sitting at their wig stands, and their wig stands had to be really high so that the wigs didn't touch the ground, and they would brush their wigs or whatever, It must have taken a lot of maintenance.
I heard that Hanano Julia came to help Maggie with her wig for her last day
her classmate.
in Takarazuka. Yeah, they're Goki.
That's so sweet.
She came and helped her brush the wig between the scenes and everything. I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet.
It is so sweet.
Yeah, but we'll get.
Do you know if
we'll get to Maggie later? I guess.
Did Julia give her tie-down flowers?
I do not know.
I don't.
Sorry.
I mean, it would make sense because she's like one of the only ones left.
I can't remember.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
No.
But yeah, just agreeing with everything. Like Ai-chan was amazing, and just Ai-chan has an amazing style, and she's got fantastic taste. And I don't know if this is a bad thing to say on a podcast, but like her club wear for this show was on point. It was like different shades of blue, and her name was written in like this brown shade. It was so gorgeous. I would have legit gone to a shop and bought that scarf for like ichimanen, no problem. I would have been like, yeah, I want it, I'm gonna wear it every single day.
Have you seen pictures of her
such
clubwear
fantastic
from that
style.
show?
I don't think so. Oh, unless it was the blue, was it the light blue one with her name on it?
I think, yeah, it was like light
That's the
blue,
one
and then there was like a darker
wanted.
shade.
Yeah, that's what Lella was saying
My
too.
club, I'm in her club, and they send me emails of, to like order forms to purchase that stuff, but I unfortunately don't read or understand Japanese. So a lot of times I get the emails from them, and I sort of like, I hit the translate button in Google Translate, and I'm like, I get the gist of what they're saying, but don't get all of it. And I know I've had, a lot of order forms for the wear and stuff, but I haven't actually bought any of it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love her stuff. And the thing that we mentioned earlier about, plot holes and stuff, in the manga, in as much that I read, at the beginning, Mariwaza is like an enemy of Kyle and Yuri. He's, the Prince of Darkness, and he's murdering everybody that he finds.
I mean, he's made out to be very scary.
Yeah, very scary, very murdery, very, ruthless. And then somehow, some way, they come to be on the same side against the Egyptians, against Ramses.
Right.
But in the show, because there's such limited time, what they do is basically in the first scene that we see Ai-Chen, she's fighting against Yuri and Kyle, and then in the next time we see her, she's on the same team with them. And there's no explanation as to why she's now on the same team fighting the Egyptians. It's just, she's just now on their team.
Lella and Heidi, you can let me know if you did you catch any line of dialogue that explained
But doesn't she have a moment with Yuri though?
Yeah,
Right,
she does have
did.
that moment. Yeah.
She said, right before Matiwaza leaves, he says, I'll be interested to see how you rule the Orient or something to Kyle. And that's it. It's not like, okay, we're buddies now. It's just like, I'll be interested to see what you do. And swish cave, and exit stage left or whatever.
I was very confused by that too.
Yeah.
Okay,
They didn't explain it.
She just shows up at the 3/4 mark and all of a sudden helps them defeat
suddenly
the
on the
Egyptians.
good guy team.
Which it's an amazing fight scene and I love it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of weird how they were like, we're just gonna you're just gonna go with it now, and she's just
Okay,
she
cool,
has
whatever.
switched sides and she's now on their team.
Because they have Rinkira Kikuri. That character is like the narrator, and it seems like they could have had two shakes to just explain, and then Matiwaza became their friend.
They forgot about Kikuri after a while.
Half of the way through.
I agree. Yeah.
Never mind.
Whoops. We don't need a narrator anymore.
That's a
Never
very
mind.
good point. For the first
Yeah.
half, she explains stuff, and then all of a sudden, she's not there anymore.
Yeah, she's just. I mean, she's
Yeah,
still
the
in some of the
plot
scenes,
picked up.
but she doesn't.
She
she's
doesn't
not used
explain
as the
anything
narrator
else.
anymore, which
Yeah.
is weird. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so we've
I
kind of
talked a little
moved.
bit. Can I talk about Ai-Chen a little bit?
Okay, sorry,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to say I adore Ai-Chen, and especially I love her voice. She's got such a great voice, and I could listen to her sing all day. Yeah, it really is a shame that she wasn't used more in the show itself, because the character is so big in the first arc of the manga. So to have it kind of skipped over a bit was disappointing for sure. As I was watching it on the second and third times, and I haven't been able to go back and look, but I feel like her costume really reminded me of Kiki's costume in Yamataikoku with the colors and the the red and the turquoise. And I don't know if maybe there are some pieces that are the same or not. But when I was looking at it again, it really reminded me of that as well. So
That's cool.
But yeah, no, I guess I wish there were more of her.
Yeah.
She's very striking on stage because she is the only character that really has a costume that is that dark. I mean, her soldiers also have, I mean, the same kind of tone and color, but they appear once or twice and it's really brief. But she is like just so striking. Like, even if you're not in like looking at her on stage, you notice her coming out on stage because she's so dramatic.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yep. Right. So we mentioned Rinjo Kira being the narrator. Do we have anything else to say about Kikuri or her character or?
I adored her makeup. Yeah,
It's super cute.
She did the little freckles.
Yeah, she looked very much like the character in the manga, and it was cute.
Okay. All right, but then let's move on to Sakuragi Minato, who plays Sananza, who is Kari's younger brother.
Both Julie and I put our hands on our chest,
Put our hands on our hearts.
Yeah,
The other perfect prince.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the lines are, but I feel like there was a change between how her character is introduced in the Takarazuka version and the Tokyo version, because I seem to remember that, like, and it should be on the DVD as well, that like there's a long introduction and they say something about like kokoro yasashi, like has a kind heart and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But then I seem to remember that there were other versions that I watched, because I saw the Tokyo version a lot more than I saw the Takarazuka version like once. And then I saw the Tokyo. So I watched this show like 6 or 7 times in total, which is a lot. But there were reasons. And I feel like there was a change there, and they didn't introduce her the same way in the Tokyo version. I might be completely off base. But
Interesting.
But yeah.
You're the only one who knows, because we didn't see it live.
Yeah. Anyway, but I thought that she did the character justice. I mean, I could have had more of her on stage, and she has like this nice, playful relationship with Yuri, and I feel like it was more of a chemistry here than it was in the manga. I felt like they had more chemistry as friends, and I felt that he loved her in a sense that I didn't get from the manga.
Yeah. They had a very genuine connection. Like, even in that cute little scene where Yuri's handmaids are trying to, get her to wear fancy princess clothes, and she doesn't want to, and so she does the little thing where she hides behind
the sleeve.
Sananza's sleeves and walks across the stage. I mean, it's just the rapport between the two of them is just really, really sweet.
Yeah, and I felt like, in the manga, Alright, so what happens is that he gets influenced by Nakia, and he kidnaps Yuri, and it's not kind of out of his own volition, but there's this sense that, when I read it, I thought that he's not actually in love with her, he's being made to do this. But in the Takarazuka show, that doesn't happen, and then, spoiler, but he dies. He is... But the thing is, like, he dies for her. I mean, he dies in the manga as well, and he dies protecting her. But here I felt like he was protecting her out of genuine love for her. That it wasn't just because it's his brother's girlfriend.
It's interesting how I felt like it developed. I mean, I think it was developed in the manga as well, that, like, he kind of had this brotherly feeling, but also had this, like, in-love feeling with her as well. Because it's a shoujo manga. Everyone's in love with the main character. That's the way it works. So I do feel like that happened in the manga as well, but it was very poignant in the Takarazuka version with Zun-chan and Madoka, and I really felt it, and Zun-chan and her freaking pink costume that just makes her seem like the most soft, sweet, kind, like you said, kokoro yasashi, kind-hearted younger brother prince who's just like innocent and can do no wrong and is never mean to anybody, She's perfect.
And like every single time I watch that scene when Madoka is like running up the stairs, I wanted her to make it to the final stair, and I wanted her to touch him, and she never did. Madoka, couldn't you have given it to me just once? But, obviously Madoka is perfect and does her performance perfectly, so obviously. But every single time I just wanted her to like, get to that final step. But no.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Yeah, it's very intense. Like,
it was very...
her...
Boromir moment.
Yes.
She gets stabbed like 6 times.
No, for real.
We're still going?
Her death scene is particularly painful because they make her so genuine and loving and everything, and then she dies trying to protect Yuri and like you said, gets stabbed over and over again and just keeps going and then just collapses, and it's just like particularly painful to watch.
Yeah. She's got such a sweet face, and like you mentioned, Julie, like combined with like the pink in my notes, I was like, Zune looks great in pink. Just with the pink and the softer colors, like everything is just like so like sweet and wonderful. And then I hadn't gotten to that part of the manga where Zanza dies, and so like when that happened, I was like, "Oh no, Zune!" Like, apparently, she's died a lot in a lot of her roles recently.
She
might die
will
again.
Continue to die.
We don't know for certain, but having read the history on Wikipedia of what happened to her character in the Da Vinci show, she might die again.
Oh no!
Yeah, doesn't that bode well for her career, though?
What's that?
Doesn't that bode well for her career, though?
Maybe.
That she dies a lot?
Yeah,
I mean, so.
Gives you a sense of gravitas.
It makes you stand out, because you remember the characters who die.
That's true.
Also, the thing I want to say about Sakuragi Minato is that everyone loves her. I mean, everyone loves Ai-chan and everyone loves Kiki, but at least the people that I am friends with, everyone has like a real soft spot for her, just everyone I know, and it's always like, oh, Zune-chan, she's so handsome and she's so sweet, and she's so beautiful and she's so cute, and I just like, so every time I see her, I'm always like, oh, and just like I just have this like, like everyone, this soft spot for her, just like she's not my favorite, but I just adore her so much.
She really is like a real younger brother,
A perfect cuddle buddy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, you just want to be friends with her and hang out with her and gossip about everything. That's how I feel, anyway.
Yeah. She seems like fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it time for Ilbani, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Mitsuki Haruka played Ilbani, and I think it was Carly who said that, who did she, like, did she sacrifice something, like, which god did she sacrifice to get this part?
To get that role.
To get that look, or to get what? What in particular was, who did she sacrifice what to get what? The role?
Yeah, to get that role.
Because she's usually very background, right?
I suppose that's true. But I think it's partly because there are so many characters. They had to fill a lot of roles, because they were trying to show off all the characters from the manga.
Yeah.
And those were key characters in Kyle's life.
I feel like she doesn't have a lot of lines, but she has a lot of stage time. And there are moments where she just comes out on stage, because she's the kind of character that knows everything. So she just comes out on stage, and then she, like, looks intense for a bit and, like, looks at the characters who's doing something, and then she leaves again. Just like, well, why did you pop out of nowhere for that? But, like,
and again, really touching back on the costumes, her costume was phenomenal. So that shade of green look. And her, like, slicked back hair with the ponytail and her, like, folded crossed arms. She just had a presence that, like, even if she didn't have a lot to say, you noticed her. You couldn't help but notice her.
Yeah.
Well, she was bright green, too.
Yeah. And it was very much like the manga, and I felt that it was very true to representing that character.
She has a very dynamic set of expressions for this role, I felt.
She's great. Like, we can talk all day about Soragami upperclassmen because I love them. But there's a lot of talent back there, and just because, like you said, she doesn't get used very often doesn't mean she's not excellent, because she is excellent.
That was the thing that I really noticed, even on the first time I was able to watch this, was that anytime anyone opened their mouths and had like a 2-second solo, I was like, wait, no, keep going. There's just so much.
So true.
Strong, so many strong singers in the troupe right now. And what has been really, like we kind of mentioned this earlier, is that like it's such a good like ensemble show where a lot of people get those 2-second little solos, or you kind of like can hear them a little bit. And that was something that I was like really impressed by as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, same.
All right, I think it's time for the Band of Bros. Then
the Bros!
Speaking of.
Called that? It's not actually called that, it's just what we've ended up calling them.
Well, my nickname is the Hapless Boys. I always find a group of hapless boys in any show, and this time it was those three.
Yeah, like in Benubara with the Eheitai, they're the Hapless Bros, you know. So in this time, it's just like the 5 boys who are just like the soldier boys in the background.
All right, so it is Sorahane Riku, is Rui Makise and Kazuki Sora. Those are the ones who stay good and stay loyal the whole time. Then we have Shion Yuki and Bukaze Hikaru, who actually kind of get bigger roles because of it, but they get tricked by Uruhi, who is Queen Nakia's servant and played by Seijo Kaito. And they betray Kail and they get killed in battle.
They try to kill Yuri, and then Zananza tries to stop them and gets killed
because they've been poisoned.
Because they've been tricked, like you said.
And Shion Yuki is the one who fights Sananza and kills Sananza, and Shion Yuki also gets killed by Sananza, right? And
they
has like this
like
amazing
mutual
death
stabbing.
flop. Like she just like flops down on stage in such a fantastic way. I really love her style.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so Shion Yuki, I think she did the Shinko lead, didn't she, as well?
Yeah, I was going to say
Nibante.
She's gotten some higher ones,
Takato Chiaki was the lead, and Shion Yuki was the Nibante.
Gotcha. But it was a big role anyway. And she's really good. I think she's someone to look out for. I think she might be tracked, right? But we never know with Hankyu. But she actually had quite a big part in Citrus Breeze as well. So
you know what?
We'll get to that later.
I should say really fast because I always get this confused too. Her stage name is Yuki Shion. There's a top star whose name is like Shion Yuki or something, and that's why I always get it mixed up. But her in the Japanese order, her stage name is Yuki Shion.
Okay. I am so bad at that sometimes because you know how when you read the programs, they
put it in English in reverse.
Yes, exactly. So even though some of them I get like the Japanese version and it's all correct, then sometimes I read through it and I learn it the wrong way around. So
so there with you. I totally understand. Shion Yu was a top star from the early 90s. That's why I always get it confused too.
Okay. All right. So Yuki Shion, I should learn how to say that properly.
But we should talk about Riku, Sora, and Achan. Because I feel like, even though, like you said, they sort of got mushed together and it was hard to really see their individuality very much, they do get each like a little bit of screen time, and you can see their personalities come through a little bit. If you're familiar with Soragumi, I think you feel a little bit how each of them has a different energy.
I particularly loved Kazuki Sora's feistiness.
Her spiky hair.
Hair. Super blonde hair,
I love it.
I had a friend who saw the show live in Tokyo, and she said that a lot of their antics and shenanigans did not get put on the DVD. But that they had a lot of silly moments, especially in the Tokyo run, I guess, that they did a lot of ad-libbing and silly moments in the background that people...
Yeah, because there's that whole scene in the festival where I can imagine that there were a lot of times for silliness and ad-libbing, but you don't really get to see that on the DVD.
And my friend is particularly fond of Sorahani Riku, and so she was watching her through her opera glasses and just like, they were just being so silly, and I regret that we don't get to see all of that on the DVD. Because that would have been really fun to see.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm seeing a show live, I want to go multiple times for many different reasons, but one of them is so that I can look at people who aren't going to be on the DVD.
Right.
So
like
true.
those things in the wings that happen.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
So true.
But yeah, she like had a one of those 2-second solos, and I was like, no, let her sing more.
Right.
Make her sing more.
And Sora, Kazuki Sora is always, doing some silly nonsense when she's a background person. In many shows I've seen, and I enjoy watching her too. So it's always like a battle of like where to put your eyes.
I always wish I had like 10 of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dedicated to certain very specific people, and then like 2 more just to roam around. So.
Yeah, because then you'll catch new people as well.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I think we didn't really talk that much about Ryokaze Hikaru. I just want to mention one thing, so she played Maggie's role in the Shinko Uruhi, there is, I think they actually connected a bit, and they became friends, maybe, or like senpai kohai kind of thing. But I think they had a good time, and anyway, so it is actually the fact that in the show, Uruhi kills Ryokaze Hikaru's character, like, because, Ryokaze Hikaru's character
he's destroying the evidence.
Yeah, he's been fighting on stage, and then, like, they've failed, and he comes back to Uruhi kind of going, like, oh my god, help me, and Uruhi just goes like, well, you failed, and just stabs him. And like the look of betrayal.
Is that the scene where she just comes out from the wings, stabs her, and then leaves again? And you're like, wait, was Uruhi out here just
you can't just, you can't do that.
Yeah, we need more.
Right.
Yeah,
amazing.
But anyway, I thought it was a fantastic like look on her face. She just played that so well, and I don't know. I felt like they had good chemistry going. But
that's cool,
could be me.
And that's cool if they actually like became friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Next, we have Fuma Kakeru, who played Tito's father, and Tito. Tito is Kail's servant, played by the super cute Manami Hikaru. Anyway, so Fuma Kakeru is Tito's father, but he has been... is he in a leper colony? It's something like that, isn't it?
Right?
It's like a dungeon or something, right? Like a prison?
It was weird, because there is a thing with a leper colony in the manga, but I really was unclear, like if they were in a prison or if they were just like banished or like what was happening.
I feel as though it was the leper colony, but in the manga it's Yuri who goes there. But
exactly,
here,
so it was getting confused in my mind.
Yeah, so Tito doesn't die the way he dies in this show in the manga.
Thankfully, because the way he dies in the manga is horrible and traumatic and awful. And I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. We'll say no more of that, but in the Takarazuka show, he sacrifices himself for Kail. So Kail was going to be executed for killing his own father, for poisoning his father, which he didn't do. It was Nakia. And Tito confesses to the murder and gets executed himself. To protect Kail, to save him. But Kail gets sent off, and I think it is the leper colony.
Okay.
Because they shout, like some other characters shout, but it's the same as executing him anyway. Because it's still...
I was confused
that
about
makes sense. It's
Because like why would she if her whole plan is to get rid of Kyle and to like remove him and basically kill him?
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't she just be like, no, he ordered you to do it, so it's the same as him doing it himself? Like
right. No, that makes sense though. That idea that
sense.
Yeah, if they're lepers, then it's like, oh, he's as good as dead being chucked into that leper colony, you know. So it's like a little bit of a more tasteful death for a prince or something, like so that everyone doesn't have to see him be executed in front of them, maybe. So I guess that makes sense from a story perspective. But yeah, like because I thought it was like a dungeon because of the way it's like staged. But then Kyle just leaves at the end, and you're like, what?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, because they tell him, like, this escape route somehow.
Which is so weird. It's like if there was an escape route, why wouldn't they all just leave? So, it's, I mean, obviously, anytime I watch a Takarazuka show, my Japanese is about 75%. Like, I get most of what's going on, but not everything.
Yeah.
So,
Lella,
I'm not even on
time,
50%.
The last time we talked about this in the
previous recording,
the recording that was not to be, you mentioned that you loved this scene with Kakeru. And that song. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my god, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Fuma Kakeru's voice is
so
amazing.
So good.
And I was like sitting there, like the first couple of times I saw this show, I was like, who is this? Why have I not heard this voice before? Right? Because I was just like, this is such, you know, like something resonated deep inside me, you know, every time she started singing, you know. It's just, wow, this is amazing. And I'm just like, and then when we found out that she is leaving with the next show, I was crushed. Just, oh my God.
It is very disappointing.
She's a treasure to Soragami, and I'm very upset about it.
However, we don't know anything about her character in the Renaissance show, but her character name is Tavern Singer. So I'm hoping that maybe
that means a solo.
We'll get a solo for her.
Yeah.
I hope so. That's the most we can hope.
Oh my God, such an amazing voice.
This character was really cool too. The Tito's dad. It was like very intense and a little bit creepy.
Well, and he gives them because the whole plot hinges on that they have these
secret of iron.
Yeah, they at the beginning they have these. I don't know if they're bronze or
bronze,
some.
It's the bronze age.
Yeah, they have the bronze swords that are very flimsy and they don't last. And then Tito's dad, Kakeru's character, has the secret to making swords out of iron, which are much stronger. And after it's discovered that Tito sacrificed himself, you know, for Kyle and what's his name? Talos? Talos, you know, discovers, because he has the bracelet, Kyle has the bracelet that Tito gave him. He gives him the recipe or whatever you call it for the iron swords so that he can defeat the Egyptians. So he's really like a titular character, even though he has such a small role.
Yeah, it's a key point in the story for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's how she defeats Ramses in the end, is with the iron sword.
Yeah.
The sword breaking, Yeah, I loved the styling of this character as well. Just from an aesthetic point, like everything was amazing. And going back to the costumes, like even though these people are, you know, lepers or prisoners or what have you, like the costume, it was just, the texture again was just so good.
Amazing.
And her makeup was amazing, and her facial hair was amazing. The whole thing was
There's
incredible.
so much of it. That's why I was like, who is this? Because I couldn't see her face.
Right.
So, because I totally know her face, and she's an amazing dancer and everything, and I'm just like, who is this person? Like, so it took me a while.
Yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes when they have facial hair, it looks like, oh, but you're so beautiful under all that facial hair. Like, I don't really believe it. But when they go all out with like a really big beard like that, then they kind of do. They disappear a little bit.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but
I love
very
that.
Very good. Right. All right, I think it might be Sumiki Sayato time.
Well, okay, but you were talking about Tito. We should talk about Manami Hikaru.
Okay.
Let's do that.
I thought we would do that a little bit later, but yeah, let's do it now. Let's do Tito.
She was sweet and wonderful, and I have feelings.
Yeah, it was a really, it was like a breakout role, because I had not known who she was before, and I think that was true for a lot of people.
Yeah. She definitely was a standout character.
Yeah.
Because Tito sacrifices himself.
Well, and she just had really good facial expressions, like in the first scene when Yuri comes out of the well, and Kyle is giving her the mouth to
herself
mouth
to the ground.
Yeah, and Tito or Manami Hikaru is off to the side, like so embarrassed and like
she like looks away.
Her sensibilities are
her delicate sensibilities.
It's so cute. Her little facial expression.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, I really enjoyed her.
it was adorable.
Yeah.
Did she get lucky, or are we going to see more of her?
I don't know. I don't feel like she's like heavily pushed as Star Trek wise, and it's a really. It could go either way. This role could really like catapult her into more prominent roles, or it could just be a one-off. Who knows? I'm cool with whatever because I love Soragumi and I love everybody.
Soragumi is so packed with talented people. It's
They are packed
They are.
with good talent.
Stacked.
Okay.
Almost
Alright,
stacked.
Is it Aki time now?
Yeah.
Yes, now we have Aki.
Aki, it's Aki.
Something that I've said to friends in the past about Aki, and something I have noticed about watching her performances in the past is how expressive she is, and that's something that has really drawn me to her, especially in Kamigami, for example, in Land of the Gods, which I did get to see live last year.
Sweet.
She was so heartbreaking and so sweet, and that like really, really resonated a lot with me.
Oh yeah, her
but
little
then to
side
see-
romance with Arisa. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Then to see like her kind of that's like a complete opposite in a way, because like Nefertiti is so like stone faced, like Ice Queen
Yeah.
for a lot of it, and her face somehow looks so long in the wig
Something
and
about
the
the wig and the
headdress.
headdress.
Yeah, but she just like has this great like really like, you know, cold stone like expression through a lot of it, but then as like kind of you learn more about her, like it cracks a little bit, and she still is really good at emoting while also seeming like really walled off. And I've always been really impressed with her acting, and I loved it.
Me too.
And her
The
character
only-
Nefertiti is Madawaza's sister, right?
Sister,
They don't really go into that very much.
They
in the
very
show.
briefly touch
They
on
hint
it.
at it, yeah. Yeah.
The
But,
only
like,
thing that I'm
Aki-
really
Go
not
ahead, Lella.
happy with is that she's not on stage very much.
Right? Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
same.
that's
Yeah.
the only
That's the
thing,
recurring
just that-
problem.
The
with this
recurring
show.
problem with this entire show, yeah.
Yeah.
But when she's there, you know it, because she
Oh, yeah.
glitters
She
like the sun.
commands.
Oh
She
my God, she
commands
pulls
that
so
stage.
much focus.
Like you said
It's-
earlier, Heidi, like I don't know how she walked in that monstrosity of a dress.
So heavy. It looks so heavy. If you look at it, like, and some of the closer
Oh, I
up
was looking
shots,
at it.
there's so much going on, and I'm
There-
like, you
yeah.
could have dialed that costume down by 50%, and it still would have looked beautiful.
Yeah, they went all out. No, Aki, I had the privilege to see a lot of her Shinko stuff while I was in Japan many years ago, and I was so impressed by her. Like, when she was Shinko's, I felt like she was too good for Shinko's. Like, she was just, like you said about her acting, she's so good at acting, and her singing, and she's so strong, actually, and we don't have to go into who should be promoted and who isn't being promoted and whatever. It is what it is. But she's so good. She's too damn good for everything, you know?
Yeah.
And I really liked that, like, she still just used her otokoyaku range as Nefertiti. She was just like, I'm this commanding, strong woman, and I'm not going to speak in like a high voice. I'm just going to speak in my otokoyaku voice, and that was really cool. And yeah, like you said, she was this like ice queen, but still there was a lot of depths to plumb in that character.
Yeah.
She was very commanding, and I felt like she emoted really, really. I mean, she always emotes fantastically, but like, it would have been very easy not to get a sense of depth in that character, especially since she was on stage, such brief moments. But you really get a sense of Nefertiti and the emotions in, going through her character. Like, it just,
Totally.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Fantastic
always
performance.
loved watching her. So good.
Okay. I think we should also talk about the other fantastic, amazing, powerful woman here, which is Nakia, played by Junya
Nakia.
Stose.
Oh my gosh. She's a treasure of Soragami. We are so fortunate to have such an amazing onnayaku in Soragami. And I don't care how many times she plays the evil mom or the evil aunt or the, strong, overbearing female character every time. She's good at it every time.
Yeah. She's amazing.
And
her
she
voice.
is so beautiful.
Yes.
Like, every time I see her face, I'm like, wow. How are you even real?
You guys were
It's
throwing
just-
around the word striking a lot, I think, with Ai-chan. And she's so striking, Seiko is, too. She's just, like you said, so commanding and so that, because, like, the Musumeyaku roles so often are, like, perky and young and cute. And, like, I felt the second time I watched it especially that Seiko is sort of, like, frowning a lot and looking very, like,
Did you mean every Seiko role ever?
No, I
History of
don't.
Seiko?
No, I don't mean every Seiko role ever. But I feel like specifically in this role, there's like this coldness where she has had to kill her feelings and kill her heart because of like the sad things that happened in her past. And there's a very specific look. I know that she's done a lot of mean older female characters, but I just feel like this one in particular was that. Again, there was like a lot of depth to that look on her face that looks on the outside like I'm cold and evil, but on the inside I have so many layers and so much sadness and so many other things happening in the back of my mind.
Yeah, she's very good at conveying emotion.
Is
on her
incredible.
face. And may I just give a shout out to her voice because it's one of my
God.
favorite voices in Soragami
Of
at
course.
all. Like anytime she gets to sing, throwback really quick to Classical Bijou, she doesn't get to sing until the very end, the Kuroembi scene. And I just like I cry every time I see it because it's just, I love when she sings. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I really
This
love-
is like. Oh, do you want to go first?
Oh, no, sorry. You can go.
This is kind of going away from this show, but I saw Parisai with Kiki and lots of wonderful people recently, and Junya Chitose was one of the
Backup
Musumeyaku
singers. Yeah.
in that show, and there was one number that she it was Moulin, it was from Moulin Rouge, wasn't it?
Rouge.
And she killed it. She was so amazing.
Oh, man.
My
I
god!
can
And
only
she was just
imagine.
front and center, and like the other Musumas were dancing around her in the back. Oh, it was amazing! Like,
Okay, but
my
what
Junya
song
Chitose
from Moulin
appreciation
Rouge?
is just like on such a high level right now.
Yeah.
I just can't. Oh, she's so good.
All
Fantastic.
three of us,
Amazing.
Kiki, I always Julie, Heidi, Julie, and I can feel all three of our energies going, we need to see this
Oh
show!
my god.
We're all fans of 93rds, and we're all of our 93rds are in Soragami, and we're all just like lusting after.
But yeah, that show, I really want to see that, and
need
Hustle Mates
it.
also. I just need all of them.
Yes.
Did they ever release songs from Patty's Eye?
Like on iTunes? I'm not sure.
Don't know.
I don't know
But
if they'd
I'm
be
not
able
sure,
to
like,
release that one anyway.
That was
Probably
such
not.
an amazing night. I loved it. It was so good. If
Just-
you are interested in all of my
Upload
thoughts
your brain
about...
to my brain, okay?
No, if the listeners are interested in all of my thoughts about this Parisai from 2018, there is a Tumblr post where I just flail at length about
I'm interested in
that
your
I can
Tumblr
remember.
post.
Yeah, I've kind
need
of been
to
away
read
from
that too.
Tumblr, but I should read it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll try to dig that up and link to it in the show notes.
Great.
And
But if we're
Please
talking
do.
about Nakia, we have to talk about young Nakia.
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna say that something that I found really striking was the way that they deliberately kind of contrasted in that one particular scene with her younger self, and then she comes on and you can see kind of like the despair from her younger self, and then she comes out and it's like this. I think it actually was more poignant when they went to Uruhi, to Maggie, and the way that he was kind of looking at her and how she says something probably about, I don't know, some machination that she's working on. I can't remember what particularly it was, but just kind of like his like despair of what she's become almost was, I thought, really poignant.
And it's also the fact that he made her that way because she is in love with him and she says that she wants to run away with him, like the two of them should run away together, and he says, I can never satisfy you as a woman, which whatever that implies, you can
I feel like I've
imagine
heard
for
that
yourself.
specific line before in another show.
But like
Well,
yeah, so I feel as though it's kind of saying to us that he feels that he made her into the person that she has become, and that is why.
yeah, I mean, it is true. Like, she was like, all rearing to go, we should just run away together, and he was like, no, we have to stay. So it really is that he stood in her way in one way or another, even if it was like unrealistic for her to think that she could just run away from her responsibilities, and maybe it never would have worked anyway. But anyway, I was going to say a lot of that character development is expressed through the younger cast, through the younger versions of themselves, and I found that really interesting that it's almost like they got equal stage time.
Actually, the younger versions get more stage time than some of
I wasn't
the,
sure, but I thought maybe
And we didn't say, but the younger Nakia is Hanaki Maya,
and she's the
who
best.
is my favorite Musumeyaku in Soragumi,
She's
and
fantastic.
she's incredible.
She has
Go ahead.
on like her voice is just so
Heaven.
on point, and she has a solo part in this, and her singing is amazing, and I love that she gets that focus. She's just so good.
She does not get enough opportunity to sing, and her voice is just incredible, and she's got this, she obviously doesn't smile very much in this role, but when she does smile in reviews and other things, it's like it's like sunshine. It's like like a light beaming from her face. She just has the most expressive, beautiful face and voice. I just adore her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the young Urhi was played by Manasa Mira, and she's very beautiful. I haven't seen her in a lot of roles, but she's very beautiful. She was in Ace Motion, which is what I remember her from. And, I thought she did really well too.
Yeah, she was very earnest and sweet.
Yeah, I really loved that role. That's good.
But we should talk about actual Urhi.
Yeah, Maggie. So Seijo Kaito retired with this role, and to me, it felt like it wasn't originally supposed to be a tie-down role. Like, there's not enough of it. Like, she should have had more lines and more stage time. But I seem to remember that because I went to her final ochakai. I'm not gonna say any like specific stories from it, but like she said that she was very grateful to Makaze that she could retire with her first Grand Theatre show, and so I get the sense that it wasn't like planned a long time in advance.
She was just ready to go.
Like it was a development that happened. So I think that's why the part isn't bigger than it is.
I feel like they did a lot to make up for it in the review.
Yeah.
The character of Urhi is very pretty. and like you said, could have had a lot more stage time. Has a big role definitely in the manga.
Yeah, in the manga, she's much more. He, I guess, is much more important to the
Shows
story.
up all the time and is messing up their plans all the time. And
and I feel like he has some kind of like his motivations are based on himself and his own life, and they're not based around Nakia quite as much.
Well, I mean, since I'm the only one who finished the manga, that whole thing that happens in this play, in the Takarazuka version, does happen in the manga. Like, all of that comes to light. Where there's this... Actually, there's this whole other plot where Nakia's motivation is about making her son get on the throne, right? She has the youngest son, so she has to get all of the other princes killed in some way so that her son can rise to the throne. And at some point, they start spreading a rumor that maybe Urhi is Judah's father and not the king. And they're like, would Judah even be a legitimate king if he were to become king? Because maybe Nakia had an illegitimate child with Urhi. And that's why they have this whole big dramatic reveal where Urhi takes off his clothes and says, I'm castrated. I can't have kids. Look.
Oh my God.
It's very dramatic.
Yeah, I think they made a wise decision to leave that out of the musical.
I don't think they were going to do that on stage in Takarazuka version.
That's not pure, proper,
the whole
or beautiful.
"I can't satisfy you as a woman" line kind of makes sense now.
Yeah,
I had
that gives that line a whole new meaning.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a whole thing where that part about Judah being illegitimate, they didn't even bring up at all in the Takarazuka version. Because again, there was no point, there's no time to do all of that stuff, but to explain Nakia and Urhi's backstory, it makes sense that they brought that up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That's the whole thing.
All right, there is one more person that I would like to talk about.
Yes, please,
Yes.
Lella.
Of course. Right.
Dozo.
So, my darling Risu-chan. Oh, wow. My voice broke there. That's terrible. Terrible
Well, we
as
know
well,
she
which
means
is
you want
terrible
to,
and
so.
awful squished together. But anyway, so Kiho Kanata, I call her Squirrel because she is a total squirrel. And, I mean, her first Grand Theatre named role with lines was in this show. And she plays Himuro Satoshi, who is Yuri's modern-day boyfriend. And the whole manga opens with them kissing. And when I found out that this was her role, I was like, oh my god, is she going to have stage time with Madoka? And like, what's going to happen? And none of that happens. She comes out on stage in the beginning and in the end, for like 2 seconds at the end. But in the beginning, she has a couple of lines. So she opens the whole show, basically. And so Himuro Satoshi was there when Yuri got pulled through into the past, and he, doesn't know what happened to her. She was there 1 second and then she wasn't, and he becomes an archaeologist, and like when you see him, he is married. I don't know if he has any kids, but his wife is also there, and they're both archaeologists, and they come out on stage, and he brushes off this like stone what is
Tablet.
Exactly, yeah. So a stone tablet that has some writing on it, and it says like Yuri Ishtar, and they go like, Yuri, that was my girlfriend when I was a kid. It's like, yeah, and then like the whole story unfolds like around that kind of thing. So she opens the whole show, and she got to have a moustache on stage, and like there were a couple of fun stories about that. So I think one time like her moustache almost fell off, And one time she when he takes the stone tablet, he grabs a like a little brush from his back pocket and, brushes some sand off of the tablet. But one time she forgot to bring the brush, so when she goes to her back pocket to take out the brush, it's not there. So she just stands on stage grabbing her ass awkwardly for a second, and then she goes
I love little things like that.
I love that so much, but that's so sad, but so adorable.
Yeah.
She's just this really cute person.
She looked good, like apart from her being a cute up and coming otokoyaku, she she looked kind of like a older guy dad figure with the mustache and everything.
Yeah, she rocked that mustache.
Yeah.
I was just so happy for her, and that's her role in the show. And then at the end, she comes out and looks at this sword that Kyle puts into a stone, and they've just uncovered it. And she grabs the sword and goes oh, it's a sword!
Look at this amazing find!
What? Yeah, but they can't know that it's Kyle's sword. I mean, they can't know anything about the.
But it's funny how they kind of bring it all back together at the end.
Yeah, but she's really good at the dramatic look in the background, and I feel like she pulled that out for that sword scene. It's just, oh my god, it's a sword! Yeah, it's a good time watching her at any point. But aside from her actual named role, she plays 3 different roles in this show, which
Amazing.
is she is Ai-chan's soldier, and then she is a townsperson, and there's a matsuri going on, and she does every single time they had this matsuri, they had different things going on, so they got to improv and so they're sometimes, so they have these flowers that they hand out to people, and they have little food stuff food on sticks. They had that in the matsuri, and then they pretend to eat each other's food, and then they do random things with the flowers. It's all it was always a good time watching the matsuri scene, and they would do different things. One time there was one little otokoyaku who was angrily throwing grapes on the floor because I'm really pissed off. It was fantastic. And everyone around was going wait, what's your problem today?
That sounds amazing. I miss that so much, of being able to watch the babies in the background, because you can't see it on the DVD at all. Yeah. Just like Jenn was saying, or people were saying about the hapless boys, Riku, Achan, and Sora messing around, and we didn't get to see any of it. And I miss that. I miss that very much, being able to see that on the live stage, because it is so fun.
Yeah,
you watch the top stars the first time, and you're okay, I get a sense of what they're doing, and then every other time you just watch the background people, because it's so fun.
Oh my god, I have to admit though that I did not really see Makaze and Madoka until I watched the DVD.
Yeah.
Oops, I missed it, guys.
Oh,
Didn't
whoops,
mean to,
sorry.
but it just happened. I was too focused on my tiny baby.
That's fine. It's totally relatable.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, going back to the third role that Kiho Kanata plays, Darling Lisa-chan, is an Egyptian soldier.
Nice.
And I kind of got, because what is it called now? A Song for Kingdom.
Yes.
Oken ni Sasagu Uta. Right, so that's, all the golden Egyptian style and everything. And I was thinking for a second, could they have dug out the costumes for that? But they didn't. They are different costumes. So
interesting.
But I still got, the feel, because and also I love Okini Saguta, so I was just really super happy about that. And she gets to do a dramatic face in the scene where Nefertiti finds out that Yuri gets someone else. It's Rara. It's her name Haru Harara?
Yeah, Haru Harara.
Yeah. I sometimes get it wrong. I'm so sorry, Rara. So anyway, Rara is put into Yuri's outfit, and Ramses is going like, "Hey, I'm gonna marry Yuri, and it's gonna be amazing."
And they try to give you like a fake
is,
out,
freaking out in Yuri's outfit, going like, "No, you cannot see my face." And,
I mean, like anybody who has spent like 5 minutes watching Soragumi, like when Lella comes out in that costume, you're like, it's not Madoka. You know immediately that it's not her.
I was too distracted by the fact that there are many moving parts on Kiki's costume to really notice, but the veil gave it away anyway.
The veil kind of makes it obvious, yeah. You're hiding something. What are you hiding?
Yeah, so in that scene, Risa-chan gets to make a dramatic background face again. So
fantastic.
You know, it's like it's always a good time looking out for her. Like wherever she is on stage, it's fun. So I would advise everyone to just zoom in on her at any point of any day.
Opera glass eye, keyhole kanata. Nice.
Come watch shows with me. Like I'll tell you where she is. It's fine.
Nice. Well, I should give a quick shout out to the background person that I love, who is not a baby. She was a baby when I first discovered her, but Oshibuki Ayato, Monchi, plays the oldest son of the 7 brothers. She's literally in like one scene. It's great because they like introducing all of the first son, blah blah blah, the second son, blah blah blah, the third son, and she's like the oldest, and so she has like a big hat and a mustache and stuff, and she's all sickly and coughing, and like then the king gets poisoned, and like all the bad things happen. In the manga, they like literally explain each of the brothers going through the succession until the third brother, where Kyle becomes king, because Monchi's character, Sari Arnuwana or whatever the character name is, actually becomes emperor or king, whatever you call it, for a little bit. Like after Sushi's son dies, they don't really cover like what's happening. Too much other plot is happening, but basically Monchi's character does become king for a while in the manga, but in the Takarazuka version you don't get to see any of it, so you're just like, oh, she's in that one scene and she's like the sickly older brother. And in the last scene when Kyle's becoming king and like they're all celebrating, I don't remember who plays the second brother, but like that person, Hanako's in that scene. So, like, Kanako didn't die. Did Monchi die? Like, I don't know what happened. The second brother didn't become king, but also didn't die. So I have questions. Yeah. I have questions about this.
My favorite part of the ending scene is when all the people who did die just rise from the stage.
Dramatically.
They're, like, watching over.
Yes,
it was
the wedding.
comical.
It's very silly.
One thing I forgot to mention.
Please
sorry.
Go.
All right, so in the final battle scene, they do this slow motion fighting, and it's amazing. I heard that Kazuki Sora's slow motion fighting was amazing as well. I don't know, because I was too busy watching Kiho Kanata's slow motion sword fighting, and she fights with Ai-chan, and I hope that they had some fantastic bonding going on there.
Nice.
But Ai-chan like kills her 3 times, and she keeps on fighting, which is funny.
Amazing.
Nice.
That's amazing.
That's also very enjoyable. Sorry, I interrupted someone there.
The only thing I was going to say is I have much more to say about Monchi in Citrus Breeze, but we kind of talked about this before we started recording the podcast. We were like, we might spend a long time talking about Red River, and we might have to make an entirely other podcast about Citrus Breeze, because we are close to 2 hours, ladies.
Citrus Breeze!
So, Citrus Breeze Sunrise is our next topic of conversation. But first, we thought we'd talk a little bit about Citrus Breeze itself. Now, Citrus Breeze was the revue which Soragumi performed as a new troupe in the Grand Theatre. And it was paired with Excalibur, which is a Disney-esque cute show which has been covered in one of our review corners, if you wish to check that out. It was Shizuki Asato, Zunko, and Hanafusa Mari who were the top combi for this brand new Soragumi at this time, and Citrus Breeze has become the iconic Soragumi review, as it has been restaged a couple of times since then. But I think Julie might have some more insight about Soragumi at this point in time.
Both Excalibur and Citrus Breeze have, like all of Soragumi in the Zunko top era, have this constant love triangle between Zunko, Ohana, and WoW. Like, it feels like every single story is a love triangle rather than it's just a romance between Zunko and Ohana and like Takako is the best friend or something. It feels like there's always this rivalry. So both in Excalibur, where like you said, it's very like fun, sort of like Disney. There's a prince and like a secret prince and a princess, and then there's the black, bad prince, and like, Chris, and he wants her hand in marriage as well. And then that iconic scene in Citrus Breeze where they do the opera song, O mio babbino caro, and Italy in 1860, and it's all dramatic, and they do this love triangle dance in the review half as well. That was happening constantly during that era of Soragumi. It was like they made Zunko top, but like they were really just pushing that WoW and Hana chemistry as well all the time. So it's like they were just waiting, for like, they were like, Zunko is top, and like, I love Zunko as top, but also they were like, but WoW's waiting in the wings to be Ohana's partner next, basically. And Citrus Breeze was their first Grand Theater review. They did like one of those double review kind of things for their actual first show. It was a Hong Kong tour. Mugen Hoju show, and this is Takarazuka, so it's like two reviews back to back. One's a Nihon Mono review and one's a Western style review, and that was technically Soragumi's first show, like small theater show, and then Excalibur Citrus Breeze was their first Grand Theater show, and then actually Citrus Breeze wasn't brought back for a really long time. They put it on tour. They did Excalibur and Citrus Breeze on tour the next year. But then after that, it wasn't brought back for 15 years until Koname. And, I mean, just like as an aside, what's his name? Keiji?
Okada Keiji.
Okada Keiji is not my favorite, like, stylistically for reviews. All of his romantic review series, I get the aesthetic. I totally get what he's going for. It's not super my thing. But Citrus Breeze Sunrise is probably my favorite version of Citrus Breeze. Like,
same.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like they really added some good numbers to this version.
Yeah, it's quite a difference when you look at them. So there are these numbers that are still the same. So the first number is still the same, and there's like that. Yeah. The Shitoras.
And then
right, that bit. Yeah, it's and I mean they have it's the same kind of color palette, and it's like really sweet and nice. But I feel actually that the review developed, and I feel like it became more timeless now with Citrus Breeze Sunrise than it was at the beginning.
I get
because
what you
mean. There are some numbers in the original show that like really dates it somehow as being quite 90s. Like there's one number about being like a robot human being.
Like the one with the masks?
Yeah, exactly,
it's
that
weird.
One. Yeah,
and that's the only
like
time
really
they did that
dated.
number, because this, I mean, there was this whole thing about how Soragami was like the new, fresh, experimental troupe, and I feel like the experimental aspect has come in and out a lot of Soragami's history. Sometimes they have been very experimental, and that number was very experimental, and I don't think it really landed. Like,
no,
it just didn't work, especially in my opinion.
Yeah. There is one number that I missed though, that they took
The
out, and that
sunflowers.
is the one.
Picking the flowers, right?
No, it's not that one. Although Hanafusamari is
I love
like
that
ridiculously bouncy, and like, does she have like springs for ankles? Like, she's so bouncy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. But the one number that I wish that they had kept is actually the one with the tree, and everyone is dressed in white, and they have like these little twigs sticking out.
Oh,
of
yeah, I know
wigs.
what you mean. Yeah, that's in the
because
second half.
I really liked how that looked. And
Aesthetics.
I mean, it's been a while since I watched it, but I just really enjoyed that number. So I was a bit sad that it wasn't, you know, in any later versions.
Yeah. I really liked the kirai number where Ohana picks the flower and says he loves me not. They replaced that with the trolley song in every other version of Citrus Breeze, and I really like the flower picking number, but I have come to really like the trolley song number, where I didn't really like it at first. I don't really know why, but probably
I love the harmonies in that.
Like what? Sorry, what did you say?
I love the harmonies in that.
Yeah, and also Monchi's in it a lot, and so that's probably part of the reason why I've become more like okay with that number, because she's basically right behind the top combi a lot, and that's nice for me.
Yeah, I just like the whole, because it has like a Southern American feel to it that's very wholesome and
like early 1900s. Like you said, it's kind of the South America.
It's from Meet Me in St. Louis.
Meet Me in St. Louis, which St. Louis is kind of it's right on the border of what you would call the South, the Southeast of America. Yeah. So yeah, it's very sweet, and
I really like that number. It's just I've seen Meet Me in St. Louis before. Like, the movie. Yeah,
I saw it a
Judy
long
Garland.
time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I don't know. I just really, I think it kind of helps contribute to like that sort of feeling of timelessness, I guess.
Classic
she does look
Hollywood
Mary Poppins in it,
movie
but
musical.
It kind of
Oh yeah. Especially and also in the Makun Midion version too. They're definitely rocking that Mary Poppins and Bert kind of vibe.
Yeah. It's very cute though. I really like it.
I feel like
in a cute way.
I feel like with this new version of Citrus Breeze that they made it more modern and more I don't know what the word is, but less like flowery and romantic and a little bit more sultry and sexy. You know, like with the Bojangles number and with the Kiki's solo number and even Maggie's solo number. It's a little bit more dramatic and less flowery and sweet and a little bit more.
Which is the thing that's really not my favorite about Okada Sensei's reviews, is that they're romantic and fluffy, and the Musumiyaku all wear pastel dresses and big hats, and like you can only watch so many reviews of pastel dresses and big hats, and I'm just like I'm not really into it. So that opening number is probably my least favorite part of the whole review.
Yeah, I think that's the one that looks the most dated.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I just really love it, you know? But I did watch it a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
So...
Because they did the same thing in Amor Sorewa, 2009. Tani's Taidon show was also an Okada Sensei review, and it didn't feel a lot like a Taidon review. It just felt like an Okada Sensei review. And I think that's another reason why I'm a little bit biased against, because there's just also like flowery and like, you know, it's that like old-timey romantic quality that I think some people are really into that kind of review, which is totally fair. And like some others of us are really into like really edgy new stuff like Batty.
But I love both.
We can't use Batty as a measurement. Everything else is going to fall short.
What I should say is that I'm really more into Fuji Daisuke reviews. He is. He is the standard upon which I hold all other reviews. Fuji Daisuke is always going to be my favorite.
Yeah, we really need to do that Sante podcast.
Could. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yes.
I did see. I think it kind of depends. I don't think I've seen too many of Okada Keiji's reviews, but I did get to see Romance live, which was Hokusho Heidi's Taidan, and I loved it. It unfortunately got butchered in the DVD.
Yeah.
So many of the songs were removed. It's so sad. But that one I really liked. I think it had a nice flow and a nice theme. But I think Citrus Breeze, maybe throughout its just various iterations, kind of like, it flows fine, but a lot of reviews these days have kind of a theme that ties them together, and it's kind of missing from that because it's hinged mostly on kind of nostalgia and then like kind of putting other pieces in together.
Yeah.
So the flow isn't like what I have come to really like about other types of reviews.
Sure,
but
I agree.
I think a lot of the numbers that they have,
all the numbers
I think everything's
individually
really
are
solid.
really good.
Yeah, really
Definitely.
good. Yeah.
We should definitely talk about Kiki Solo.
Yes, let's do that now, right now. What are your thoughts, Heidi?
So yeah, she sings, and I'm gonna
Paradiso.
embarrass myself. I don't. Yeah. Oh yeah, Paradiso. Which is a throwback to
90s.
her Hoshigumi days in a couple of different ways. But she also, for her personal photo book, in 2015, wore that costume for her photo shoot. So she like kind of already has this established history with this costume. So
She had already established that she likes this costume.
Like,
she wants to wear it.
I don't know how this comes about. Like, I don't know if they're like, you get to pick a thing that you want to do, and she was like, I want to do that. Like, I don't know if that's
who
that's
knows?
how these things happen. But yeah, she looks really good in it. But like, so yeah, no, it's just a really nice number. I also think it really kind of highlights like the progression of her singing, because it's sung at a fairly low register for her, and she still does it really well.
Heidi, I was blown away. I was blown away by how good her singing is. Where did that voice come from?
I don't know, man. I think she's always been a pretty strong singer, but especially in the past like couple of years, it's just like
she's really
she
improved.
Can, like belt it out, and she's really like solid now. Yeah, I loved. It's gonna sound like super weirdly Victorian, but like when her sleeves on her costume would kind of like fall down, and you can see her wrists, and she's just got like such beautiful hands. And I'm just like, oh god, I love them. Yeah, so that was great.
That's super relatable. I should also mention. Sorry. Paradiso specifically has been like done several times in reviews and in concerts and things, and I just really specifically love that number. And it's very catchy, and it's kind of sultry. Like I don't remember if somebody used that word before, but it's a little bit like, "Hey baby, I'm gonna love you and leave you. My heart wants to stay. My heart wants to stay. Should I stay or should I go?" And like the lyrics are kind of sexy. And so that combined with Kiki in that costume and that hat, like,
and her hands,
the whole package is really fantastic.
Yeah.
I like the first time, well, actually every time I saw it, I just felt like she brought her Hanagumi, because that is something that I really feel that is so Hanagumi, is the dancing with the hat and doing it so perfectly, and I just felt like, oh my god, you've got the Hanagumi in you. That was my feeling every time. So like it makes me feel kind of nostalgic for Kiki's Hana days, and but I also feel like she is bringing that to Soragumi, like she's bringing some kind of edge to it, maybe.
Yeah, I loved watching her in the NB, the Kuro NB. It feels weird saying Kuro NB when they're all wearing white. Shiro NB?
Shiro NB. Actually, I think that is what they say, Shiro NB.
Oh, really? Oh, Shiro NB. But during that dance, especially in the last couple of times I watched it, I went back and I like rewinded a little bit to watch it because I was trying to like watch her and watch people around her to see like the differences in her dancing, because Hanagumi is so like sharp and precise when they do their kuroenbi, and I think you can really tell. I think certain people next to her, if you kind of watch her and then watch some of the other like Sorogumi staples, for example, I think they kind of like flow into the next motion a little more. Like they don't kind of,
the style.
Not to say that it's
different.
bad or anything, but it's more like, yeah, the style is just a bit different. I think she like kind of like sharply hits the one pose and then like goes to the next one, as opposed to like someone else might kind of like get part of the way there and then already start moving into the next one, to the next movement.
I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's hard to describe it. When you look at it, you're like, oh, okay.
I got you.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing that contrast.
Dancing style.
Specifically.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
We've kind of skipped forward, but we should talk about Bojangles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how many people had that as their favorite scene?
Right here.
Yeah,
That's my favorite scene for sure.
A lot of feelings.
I'm not a big...
mine's the opera scene.
Yeah.
I'm not a big crier, like, as far as, like, when I watch stuff. I cry literally every time I've watched this show probably 4 or 5 times on the DVD, and I cry every time I watch that Bojangles number. It just, it's so powerful. I really love it. Sushi-san's face, I just can't.
Yeah.
I have to admit, it doesn't really resonate with me like that for whatever reason. I don't know.
You know,
I thought it was interesting that they, like, Makaze sings it in English, and I have heard that Makaze is really not into English. She does...
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I heard it, I did not realize she was singing in English.
I didn't know until you said just now that she was singing in English. Like, part of it I knew she was singing in English, but I didn't realize the whole
I
thing
realized
was
it like the
English.
second time.
Yeah, part of it you can tell that it's English, but like a lot of it's pretty incomprehensible. I'm not gonna lie. I love you, Makaze. I love you so much, but I couldn't understand.
I thought she did really well with the pronunciation, but it might be because I know this song pretty well, and I knew what she was.
And it could
just
be the DVD recording, you know, because I've only seen one recording of it, and you got to see it live.
Yeah.
You also got to see it live after she'd done it
several
many
times. You saw it in the Tokyo run when the DVDs from the Takarazuka run.
I just love the aesthetics of that number. The song is fine. I like the song, but it's really about the costumes, the choreography, the facial expressions that Sushi is making as the drunk Mr. Bojangles, and the fond looks that Makaze gives her. There's something about that part of it that I really was drawn to.
It's very sentimental, and somebody used the word nostalgic. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
I think for me, it not to like downplay the like emotion of it, but for me it comes off as a little more comedic. In the sense that like she's got this bottle of Jack and she's just like pounding it. And I'm just like, you get it, Sushi-san. Like, I also enjoy whiskey, so
but it's very melancholy. You know, I was reading a little bit about kind of the origin of the song, Mr. Bojangles, and stuff like that, and you know, I don't know. It's melancholy, and I feel like, especially like Jenn said, Sushi and Makaze specifically, the way that they play off each other and the facial expressions that they make express that nostalgic, melancholy kind of quality.
I really like the combination of the stage setting and the little light boxes and the choreography. Like, it's such a good blend. And Yuki Shion, see, I said it right this time.
Yay!
It's funny because there's a bit at the end where they have their hats and they do like this movement that's towards the left for the gens, but the right for us as we're watching it. and Shion Yuki. Sorry, I did it wrong. Yuki Shion is at the very back. Oh my god, I'm gonna learn to do this sometime. Yuki Shion is at the very back, so she has to run the furthest out of all of them to get her hat out.
Bless her heart.
And there were a couple of times when she didn't quite make it.
Oh no!
And it was so cute. She did make it on the DVD, I think.
Oh, bless.
But it was, I enjoyed looking out for that, and it was very cute. Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
If we want to briefly touch on the Chuzume, I know that Jenn has like some very sentimental feelings about the original costumes, and then they completely changed all of those costumes for the new version.
It's not the costumes; it's the number itself. It's you know, the Citrus Breeze 3 with Asaka Monoto was like one of the very first reviews I ever saw as a fan. So I have a lot of feelings about that number because Ai-chan leads a dance in that number, and it just you know, and there's nothing wrong with the new one. I like it. I just have lots of feelings about the old one.
Oh, she's the watermelon, isn't she?
The watermelon?
Yes,
Watermelon?
yes, she's pink and green with
Okay.
black spots.
Carly,
Yes.
Yeah.
Heidi, have you seen the other Citrus Breeze recordings? Have you seen like Citrus Breeze 2 or Citrus Breeze 3?
I think I maybe have seen 3.
Okay.
And I say maybe because, like, I have vague memories of seeing Makun do parts of Citrus Breeze.
That's
but
totally
I don't
fair.
know if I've just seen clips.
Here's the real
can't
question.
remember.
Have you watched any Takarazuka show where they have garish polka dot costumes that are split down the middle in 2 different colors?
Literally, it's impossible
Yes,
that
I
she
have.
has not seen that.
Exactly. They use them in many, many Takarazuka shows.
Yes.
And I am not a fan of polka dots. I just okay, guys.
I don't know if I saw it in Citrus Breeze, but I've definitely
you've
seen
definitely
them
seen those costumes
in something else.
So when
and I
Lella
was like,
says
what are these
that
things?
Ai-chan is the watermelon, it's because that her color scheme.
Okay, I
Half her
understand this
costume
better
is
now.
pink,
Yes.
half her costume is green, and
Yeah.
black spots all over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I'm so glad they changed that.
Yeah. And then
Some people
And
some people
I think-
like bad costumes. Like, ironically, I don't like them
I
in any
don't.
way.
I don't like them.
Like I said, it wasn't about the costumes. It's about the song and the number.
Yeah.
And there's like in the number, there's a lot of Ai-chan and Makun shoulder bumping and you know, like having moments together, and so it was about more like that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
actually, in the Okikamama version, I think it is Nanami Hiroki who is the watermelon.
Yes.
So that's also a
Ai-chan.
fantastic version to watch.
Yeah.
oh,
All the
That's
delightfulness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they changed the costumes.
Yeah.
I really like these costumes.
The costumes are just fine, and the Chuzume is just fine. It's like, it's not the most rousing Chuzume I've ever seen. But it's also not eye-blindingly terrible, because I have seen some costumes that
I actually really
you
like
know.
them. They're really beautiful shade
They're
of
nice.
purple. So, I liked that Maggie got to sing kind of the opener, and it was Maggie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
and I also just really enjoyed the dance that Kiki does with the Musumeyaku.
The middle part is when Madoka wears that beautiful costume that's all white, and she has that, like, 1920s kind of, like, cap, you know, that's,
It's so sparkly.
and it's, like cut open in the front and then long in the back. I love that costume so much.
It's so beautiful.
Like, I feel like that's something that I aesthetically wouldn't enjoy, but I do. I like it so much on her. It looks fantastic. She carries it so well.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. It's kind of like you say, I don't know how she does it. I don't know how it's so beautiful, but she looks amazing. And when she and Makaze dance together, it looks amazing.
So good.
Oh, you said purple, but I think in the back, it's only
Everyone in the
top-
background is blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
like,
There's a mix of...
Well, we know
turquoise-ish.
who I was paying attention to. So.
turquoise-ish.
Yeah, the top 3, Makaze, Maggie and Kiki are in
They're all
purple.
wearing purple.
And then
Purple,
the rest is in light blue. But we should talk
I
about
like-
Very nice.
I like the opening of that where Maggie sings that high note. She hit it so perfectly every single time. I was
Yeah.
just very impressed with that.
She's got such a good voice.
She's got an amazing, powerful,
so
incredible
sad
voice.
To
Yes.
lose it.
Yeah. It's a shame.
So good.
Hi. Omio Babino.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, my feelings.
Okay, it's a tragedy that they cut that from the DVD.
Yes. I'm very, very mad about
It doesn't make sense that they
It
cut
doesn't
it
make
because
sense
it was
because
never cut
every
before.
other version has that song. The copyright expired. Like, I don't understand. Why couldn't Hankyu pay for the copyright again for that song? I'm so angry about it because I feel cheated. I know Madoka has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and I want to hear her sing in Italian, and I'm mad about it.
You can kind of like faintly hear something. Or,
It's like they cut. It's like they cut her microphone, but you can very
Microphone.
hear. And they've done that in previous reviews, where they cut their microphone, but like you can hear other mics on the stage picking up her voice a tiny, tiny bit. If you turn it up really loud, you can hear it.
Yeah. And I think it's a pity because, right, so West Side Story was really difficult to get tickets to. And so for a lot of people, this was the first time that they were able to see Madoka as the top musume of Soragumi. And this was the moment they realized,
How
wow,
amazing she
Madoka's
is.
got it. Right? I was chatting to a friend who, when she heard Madoka do Omio Babino Karo, she just realized that this is going to be amazing. Madoka is perfect. I think a lot of people will lose that moment because they didn't just pay for the rights to have it.
I know.
so mad.
I have some strong curse words for Hankyu.
Right. So that's
But
but Madoka, she was absolutely on point, perfect. She hits the notes, and you know they picked this for Hana Fusamari, and Hana Fusamari does it amazingly well. But Hana Fusamari also had she had a couple of years on Madoka, didn't she? When she did
She
Omio
definitely
Babino
did.
Karo. Yeah, and to be able to go on stage and do Omio Babino Omio Babino Karo flawlessly, I just felt like, wow, this could have been picked for Madoka as much as it
I
was
agree.
picked for Hana Fusamari. Right? And just kudos to Madoka. Wow, what a singer. Fantastic. Right.
And now that
I feel like
we're
I'm
done
saying that a lot about this
fawning
show, like,
over
oh my god, they're all
Madoka,
amazing.
just talking about the rest of this number.
Oh my god.
Well, it was definitely an improvement, as Julie and I have talked about, for them to have the Nibante play
It
the
didn't
role.
make any sense. For the two tour versions, it didn't make any sense. I love Sushi with all my heart, but it did not make sense for her to be doing that dance instead of the Nibante. It didn't, like, why? Why? I'm so confused as to why they did it this way.
I
But
have to say though that I liked the dynamic of her being like seen as this a lot older man, because it felt more like taking care of Midion, right? It was
Yes.
It like the dynamic changed there, and I really quite liked that.
I think what I
But,
missed is the sorry, what's the word? Love triangle dynamic. Because when it's not the Nibante, you're missing that love triangle. And when they brought it back and Kiki is in that role again, you really heavily felt like the tension. And Kiki was bringing those faces. And I'm sure, Heidi, you can talk a lot about those faces.
I have a lot to say about those faces. Yeah, I since I hadn't, I guess I must not have actually seen Citrus Breeze in its entirety because I don't have any recollection of this scene, or at least if I have seen it in the past, it didn't resonate with me very strongly, perhaps because of what you guys just talked about, in the sense that, like, I really like love triangle type things. I especially really like love triangles when, like, there's friendship and even more tangled feelings involved. So the fact that, like, Kiki and Yurika are clearly, like, friends at the beginning, like, when Yurika comes in, like, they embrace, and I think that's really a great way to kind of establish, like, the relationship between all three characters. But I feel like I would have remembered if I'd seen it before and it had struck me so powerfully. That said, I don't know if maybe it was just this particular performance, but anyway, like, I've never been so invested in a review number. And these types, and when it ended, I was like, no, wait, I want the duel, come back, keep going.
I know, it's such a fake out. You're like, wait, isn't there going to be a duel? Like, she threw out the gloves and everything.
I'm like, I want an entire show just like
totally
built around
feel
this.
you. I mean, it's the same in the Waozenko and Ohana version, where like you feel that extreme tension, and I feel like that was a really early clip that I saw of the three of them, that people were like, look at how this dynamic was back then, and I'm not even gonna say they recreated it. It was like a whole new version of it with the way that Makaze and Kiki and Madoka's dynamic works.
Yeah, and
one thing I wonder though, who picks up the glove?
Whoever was closest. It was
because it goes dark, and then you hear
goes dark,
running, and then you're like, who did it? Who picked it up?
I suppose whoever's closest.
Probably Madoka, because she's the youngest.
Madoka. Yeah, true. But yeah, no, I just
Kiki and her faces.
And her faces, but I also love numbers like that where it's a story told through dance, and there's no singing and there's no speaking. You're just looking at like the dances and the actresses' expressions and their movements, and I love things like that. There's a scene like that in Romance, where it's kind of it's with this sort of similar, like, it's not a love triangle, but it's like they're sort of a love that can never be.
Yeah,
type of scene.
I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, it's it's the garden scene, and it's so aching and so wonderful.
The dancing is beautiful.
And I love that type of kind of narrative dance. And I think, though, for me, like, I think Madoka and Kiki overshadow Yurika a little bit in the sense that they're both like the quality, maybe not quality, but like the strength of their expressions is just so heart-wrenching. And it's like we kind of talked about for Red River, like, Kiki just acts with her eyes. Like, she puts so much intensity and so much emotion into one look, and then she can, like, you know, like, I remember when she turns around after, like, Madoka and Yurika are kind of like making eyes at each other, and she turns around from talking with someone in the background, and she's just got this look of like, wait, what? And it's just this. There's so many expressions of hurt that just rip my gut out.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, wow, how do you do that? How? And I think that's something that really endears her to me, is just the strength of her emotions and her, like, acting without words in that way. And I want to watch it over and over again until the day I die.
I also love a slinky shirt.
Yeah, because you feel like it makes her character very sympathetic.
Yes,
I think because I mean, it's not necessarily that anybody is at fault,
right?
I suppose in this scenario, because it's like, oh, people like meet and they fall in love, and
right, that's what happens.
You can tell Madoka like hasn't been feeling it. She's like, oh, you know, things haven't been great, and then like she meets somebody else that like, you know, there's that spark, but then it's kind of like, but but like, what about me? And they had these like kind of like this unresolved like tension and feelings. And
I have
emotions.
this like story in my head that not only were Kiki and Makaze friends from the past, but also that Makaze and Madoka were like childhood friends or something. And they see each other again after Makaze has been away for a long time in the war, or whatever war it is, you know. She came home from the war, TM. Yeah. And they see each other again. To me, it's like a reigniting of a spark rather than a spark for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
That's my
head
headcanon
as well. I also loved when like they all three kind of like go and they change, do their quick changes and they like lose their outer layers.
Yes. Oh my god.
Then, Kiki comes to the forefront, and I just have this like reminiscent like vision of her as Rudolph.
Oh yeah, of course. That makes sense.
So I just really loved that too. So.
Yeah, it was really good.
We'll just spend forever talking about that number.
Yeah. It was amazing. Everybody did a great job.
Because, like, right after that is Maggie's solo, right?
No, Maggie's solo's after Asuno Energy.
Oh, it's after Asueno Energy?
Yeah. What is after? Oh, it's the kick
The
line.
rocket.
Isn't it?
That's right, of course.
Kick line.
They were cute. And the, like, kind of flamingo pink costumes that looked new. Again, I don't feel like I've seen them in a previous review. They look new.
I don't think so.
And I liked them.
I like them too. They're very cute. Although they tried to cram the word citrus into one syllable, so it just sounds like stress. And I'm like, that's mood.
That's so funny.
I'm sorry. I'm like trying to cover my mouth so I don't laugh too hard. That is really funny. Stress.
Oh my god.
I've been there.
I mean, that's probably what those girls are feeling, right? The like Ken 4 and under babies are like stress. Oh man, that's so funny. No, but we didn't talk about at all. We didn't talk about Amairo Mineri, Judy in the play half. She was also great, and she and Takoto Chiaki, who are the Shinko leads, they kind of lead and are the center of the kick line.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so that was really nice that they gave kind of like a moment for each of them to shine in the Rocket.
Yeah.
Because they were Shinko leads.
Cute. That's cute.
Yeah, it was nice.
And then
Maggie solo.
Maggie.
Or no, and then Asue, and then Maggie solo.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep getting confused.
Okay.
I'm too excited to talk about all the things.
Yeah. Well, Asuno Energy was, is the iconic song, is the iconic number for Soragumi, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the original number. Part of the reason why Citrus Breeze is so nostalgic and so sentimental for me is because that number, in that review and that number in particular, was the first place that I noticed Ai-chan as Aizuki Hikaru. She had in the Citrus Breeze 3, in that number, you know how they open their jackets when it speeds up, and they do the dance with their jackets open, and then when it slows down again, they close their jackets. When she closes her jacket, not this one, in the one with Makun, she closes her jacket, and one of the little fringe strips from her shirt sticks out of the middle of her jacket. It doesn't get tucked back in. And it's really cute and awkward, and it's just like she's dancing with this like yellow strip of fabric hanging out of her coat. And I was like, who is that silly girl with her shirt hanging out of her coat? And that was the first place I noticed her, and I started like telling Julie, like, there's this one person that I keep watching in all the scenes, and everybody knows what happens after that.
Pretty soon what followed after that was these, like, Jen saying these things like, I just really feel like I want to, like, protect her and keep her safe and love her. And I was like, I know what's happening here.
So
I see where this is going.
So yeah,
really adorable.
I knew that as soon as Julie got her hands on her DVD and we watched this, that number in particular would be like all the feelings.
Yeah,
and I was right.
All the feels.
And this time it was actually she closed her jacket properly, but this time Zoon-chan had that issue, and she has a little orange flap of fabric
on the
sticking
DVD,
out
it's
of her
perfect.
jacket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to ask:
Yes.
Are those the costumes that they use for every single version?
Yes.
No.
I mean, they look
No, it's
like.
not.
Oh, Lella.
So
Go ahead.
so the original ones, the jackets had different patterns on them. So they're actually clean cut black for the sunrise ones, but they had some patterns on them. I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was bedazzled or anything like that, but they had more patterns on them, so they made them simpler for this version.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which I think is better, to be honest. And side note, it's not just this is an iconic number that Soragumi has done, but also, as you guys might know, they've done this number tons of times in concerts and tours and things where they they cherry pick this number out of Citrus Breeze and they put it into other things because it's so good. Everyone loves the song and the number and the way it's choreographed and everyone just singing their hearts out and dancing their hearts out is beautiful, and I love this number so much.
Yeah, it's the best.
And I just get so distracted by the tentacle shirts. I mean, I'm like, but why? I feel like there are
They're
other ways
kinda
that
weird.
you could go about
They're-
having that type of aesthetic. But
Heidi, the answer is Takarazuka.
Because Takarazuka.
admittedly, I have seen worse. But it's just one of those things. When I saw the photo, I was like, "What is going on?" But no, what's really, and then there's just so many like I said, I have so many questions about this number, starting with the shirts, and also being like the do you need to bring out the kind of weird
Jesus-y stuff.
Jesus, and I say that having seen Sante, where there is an actual Jesus song, but at the same time, they have a very similar, it's a kind of gospel aesthetic, and I just find it so incredible and amazing that type of music is kind of universally uplifting. Just with the lyrics have nothing to do with Christianity, obviously, but they're just kind of this universal good feeling, and everybody's
it's
upbeat,
true.
like you said, singing their hearts out and dancing their hearts out, and frankly, I don't know how they have voices left after that.
Literally.
Yeah.
But it was the same with Sante and that number, because it starts out it's actually one of my favorite numbers in that entire review. But it ends on this kind of Mirio has risen, and then you get this kind of gospel number, and everybody is super jivey to it, and jumping around and dancing and singing, and they're just so passionate, and everybody looks super, super, super happy, they're having the time of their lives.
I remember that number in
Yeah.
Sante, even though it's been a year since I saw that show, since I watched it in a stream with you. But I remember that Jesus number.
Yeah. It's I'm sure some people might find it inappropriate, but it's, for me,
whatever.
it's honestly it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's really, it has such a good feeling at the end of it, and you can tell everybody had a lot of fun with it and everything else. And it's the same feeling that I get with Asue no Energy. I can't do it in Japanese.
Because they do it in that number specifically. It's written energy, and in other ways that Japanese pronounces energy, it's written energy.
Energy.
So it's very confusing.
Energy. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's, I loved seeing everybody look, you can tell there's kind of this switch where they're singing a song because it's the number, it's the whatever, that's what they're doing. It's that's the type of performance. And then when they switch to I don't know, just
Singing their hearts out. Yeah, where
just
everyone...
their mouths are wide open, and they're throwing themselves around, and
yes,
hands on their hearts, and I love
all
it.
of that.
Yeah.
There's something that, like I said, I am much more invested and much more familiar with Soragumi than with any other troupe. So maybe other troupes talk about this as well. But Soragumi specifically has brought up over the years several times their chorus, and how when they are singing as a group, they have a really strong energy. And not to make a pun, but there you can tell, like you said, that everyone is just throwing themselves into it so hard, and they are so passionate about it. And
it's like they're really glowing.
Yeah.
There's something about the power of that dantai, everybody on the stage, just as a group, and they are feeling their power and their energy together as a group. And it's like it makes them more powerful, you know, that they ramp each other up, and it's wonderful to watch, even on DVD, even without being there. It's so fantastic to watch.
Because I can't stop talking about Kiho Kanata,
Yes.
in this number, she is on the right side of the stage, and she is right up. So if you are sitting in the esseki that's right just to the right, then she's just there right next to you.
Nice.
And there was someone who had written on Twitter, like they tweeted that, "Oh my god, I was in that seat, and Kiho Kanata's smile is like the sun." And I just thought that was just so cute. And I feel like that is the whole, energy that they are giving off. They are just exploding with this huge energy, just like the sun. So
Yeah.
and
Like just like
Heidi-
appropriate
Right.
when, like, after Maggie's solo, you get that kind of, like, what's it called, like, eclipse halo
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that's true.
thing.
Yeah, they
on
do the
stage.
thing.
But it's supposed
I was
to be
making
sunrise,
a joke
and it's
about
not,
that
right?
the first time. Sorry, Lella, what did you say?
I really wanted to talk about something with Maggie, but
Please, we don't want to gloss over Maggie. Let's talk about Maggie.
At her ochakai, Maggie was saying that during Ase no Energy, she had to wait for her solo, and she has quite a different mood to Ase no Energy, and she was trying to like get into the the persona that she needed to be when she stepped out on stage, but she kept like looking up, like kind of flicking her gaze up towards that amazing energy that was going on stage, and going like, I want to be all happy and
A part
oh
of
my
that
god.
world.
But then she had to like really like hone in her what she needed to be when she came.
Well,
out on
I feel like
stage.
she was
So I thought that
successful
really cute.
because she's fantastic, and her energy is very different from the previous number in a very impressively masculine, otokokusai kind of way. Wow. I mean, that is 20-something years of otokoyaku art, craft. And that is the culmination of her just like singing this solo across the ginkyo and showing off every skill that she has learned in all of her years as an otokoyaku.
Yeah, I loved it.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about Citrus Breeze?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the pair dance was good too. I like those costumes, the like flame kind of costumes. The Heidi, you were commenting about the that kind of eclipse halo thing where it's like the sun has been covered by the moon or something in an eclipse. And Makaze keeps singing about sunrise, 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 but the sun never comes out. It's an eclipse the entire time. And
Well, it starts with Makaze and then it moves to Kiki, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Like to be very like pedantic about it. Technically, the sun never comes out. And the reason I say that is because I think about Funky Sunshine, 2010 Soragumi review, which is very memorable and personal to me. And there is a number that's actually called Eclipse. And in that number, the sun eclipses and comes out. Like they have a set piece that is like a shadow moving over the sun, and then the sun coming out again. And so it more accurately portrays what it's like when the sun is darkened for a bit, but then it comes out again. And Tomu and some of the best dancers in Soragumi do a really, really excellent dance number. And so in contrast to that, I thought it was very funny that Makaze keeps saying the word sunrise, but actually there's no sunrise.
Sunrise.
But other than that, I love the pair dance. I love the Ochokoyaku Shiro Enbi stair dance. I love all of it.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one review that I can watch over and over and over and over and over again and never be bored with it or be like there's no part of this review that I'm just waiting for it to pass.
Oh,
I love
heck no.
every single one of the numbers.
Every number is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I just wanted to give one last note, kind of in contrast to her solo with Paradiso.
Yeah.
Is like the quality of Kiki's voice at that part, where she kind of takes over for Yurika and she's singing Sunrise, and the sunrise never comes. But just like the power
It's
behind
very
her
powerful.
voice there. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Like,
This
this is the funny thing, Heidi, is that, like, I mean, I can't stop talking about how I was completely won over to Kiki, right? And, like, the first time I was won over to Kiki, but the second time I rewatched this entire thing, we watched both Red River and Citrus Breeze. Holy crap, where did that voice come from? Like, whoa. And the part that you're talking about, like you said, her voice is so powerful. She's been singing and dancing this entire review. But that part is like the best singing. Oh my god, I don't even have the words.
Yeah, I actually wrote down, I was like, how do you have any voice left?
Yeah,
after that?
for real.
And it was just, so I especially loved that part of the review, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, definitely.
Kiki must take really good care of her voice, and her mother was a Takarazuka as well, so maybe she grew up learning how to be careful with her
Probably.
voice. Maybe. Who knows? But.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, it's just the MB and the parade.
I love that in the parade that usually when the top star comes down, they like slow the music down. But for Yurika, they're like, no, sing the hardest part of the song
Speed it
as
up.
you walk down the stairs.
Right. Yeah, for real.
Show us the power.
Yeah, it's great. Makaze, I feel I have definitely raved about Kiki quite a bit. And I should mention that Yurika is I'm so manzoku. So completely satisfied with her as a top star. I like saying goodbye to Makun was hard. And even though I knew that, like, Soragami would be in good hands, it was still hard. But, like, seeing the completely competent, charismatic, talented, I don't even have the words, person that Makaze Suzuho is. The company picked the right person, the troupe is in good hands, and I'm very, very happy. And she's so charming, and like I skipped all the parts where Jenn and I were rewatching Citrus Breeze today, and I kept saying, God damn it, Makaze, why are you so charming and so perfect? You know? And just being like, how is she so good?
I just remember that one screenshot, I think, from Makun's Taidan, where Yurika is like, I think she's handing her flowers or something.
Oh my god!
Just look at her face, like she's completely breaking down.
Oh my god! Like, oh my god! When she was like, Makun was like, you know, Yoroshiku, here's the new top stars of this troupe, and she was like calling her out, and she made Makaze and Maruka come out, and she was like, these are the new stars of this troupe, and Makaze was just like overwhelmed, and it was very adorable.
Also because they are best friends.
Oh my feels.
She's so sweet. I love seeing her on stage. I love seeing her off stage.
Yes.
I love in almost every single Iride photo I see on Twitter, she is always smiling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's always just, she just is, or making some kind of like silly, cute little face. I don't know. I always love seeing her, like, no matter what she's doing.
She's really genuine.
Yeah.
You know that
Yeah.
she just, when she smiles like that, you can sense how, caring and genuine she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's great. She's She's perfect.
She is. I really think this was a wonderful, like, first show and first review for her.
Yeah.
I failed to mention it when we were talking about the trolley song, but that really kind of felt like sort of like a newlywed type of feel to it.
Yeah.
And I just love that, like, they have such, like, a good foundation already to grow together. So I'm very, very pleased and very excited to see what happens next.
I'm very pleased and very excited, and I haven't seen Ocean's 11, but to see Madoka as Tess Ocean, I'm pretty damn excited.
But before that, we're gonna have a Nihon Mono review.
Oh, that's right. I want to see that too. Okay, I do. I actually, like, we're just like the winding down of this podcast, but I love Nihon Mono reviews. Like,
same.
I have
Same.
no idea how it feels for native Japanese people, and they're like, Buyo, we don't, like, if you're interested in that or not, I have no idea. But I love it, and I was so excited. I'm, like, more excited about Shirosagi than I am about Renaissance. Like, I'm so excited about
That
it.
seems to be a common thought process.
We had the potential to see Sekasho and Golden Desert a couple years ago, but decided to go at a different time. And I don't regret, like, what we did end up seeing then, but I do
regret not seeing
Sekasho.
Yeah.
When we finally got the DVD, I literally cried through the entire thing.
That was a beautiful review. I have seen that one on DVD, and it is beautiful.
It's gorgeous. So I'm really, really excited to see what this one will be. So they've been staying real late at rehearsals lately, so hopefully.
Bless. Take care, babies.
Right.
They only have, like, 2 weeks until the
2
show
weeks
starts?
from today.
Shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
We love you.
And don't forget to have fun, all Soragumis.
Gambare Sorogumi.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's everything that we had to say for today.
Yeah.
And we would like to thank all of the listeners for listening. And
Thank you for sticking with it.
Yeah.
It's a long one.
We're reaching the 3-hour mark now, so
Yes.
yeah. We hope that you enjoyed the very long podcast, and that you'll tune in again. So,
Yeah.
all right. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Many thanks to Michael B. and the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakugoro. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying our podcast.